Chapter 1466. Su Yin and Lin Ge came to the front of Zhuolingyue. Before they could say thank you, Zhuolingyue spoke first. The people who left first have already seen the Japanese cruisers. If there's not much time difference, this island will be surrounded in less than 20 minutes. After a pause, Zhuolingyue continued. You've caught the people and burned the island. It's about time to go. I don't want to spend the whole night here. Since you've said so, how can I dare to disobey you? I don't want to stay here for another minute. Su Yin was sincere. He was also eager to go back and report the good news to the brigade. He wanted his brothers in the special forces to stop worrying about him and let the chief know that they had won the battle. The army was not involved. The Japanese couldn't find any evidence, so they couldn't stand out to accuse and spout nonsense. There was no chance for them to talk nonsense. This was probably the best way to solve the whole thing, and he had to thank Zhuolingyue for all of this. Perhaps it was because of her words that they could easily destroy a secret transfer base of the Americans. Su Yun's gratitude was not just for personal help. Answa, I thank you. On behalf of the Shenlong Brigade, I thank you on behalf of Team 1. You only need to represent yourself. Zhuolingyue said. You don't need to represent the others. I don't have the obligation to do anything for them. I don't like to do anything for them. If one leader also benefits from today's incident, then he's lucky. I don't need his gratitude. Zhuolingyue's tone didn't sound friendly. She didn't want to give Wan Guangxiao any face at all. This made Su Yin a little surprised. But then he understood everything. Su Yin, let me tell you. You'll go back with me today. Don't think about your bullshit army anymore. Zhuolingyue said. No matter whether you're a gangster or not, you should know what loyalty is. You're loyal to your army. But what about your army? Are they loyal? If I were you, Su Yin knew that Zhuolingyue wouldn't understand what the behavior of an army represented, and what influence it would bring to the country. So he didn't refute her. Answa, I know what you're thinking. However, perhaps everyone has their own judgment. And everyone has their own way of thinking. I'm not interested in your thoughts and judgments. Zhuolingyue's voice was still filled with anger. I only know that when you needed them, they didn't stand up for you. This kind of behavior, no matter what the reason is, in my eyes is a coward. Su Yin had no reason to refute. Not long after he left the Dragon Brigade, he had been involved in the disputes of the underground world. He understood that Zhuolingyue was right. This kind of behavior was indeed disdained by all the experts of the underground world. However, their standpoints were different, and their identities were different. The Dragon Brigade didn't just represent them personally. They couldn't be careless when it came to matters involving their country. Answa, I understand. Su Yin nodded. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's almost time. Let's go. Zhuolingyue calmed down a little. But soon there was a problem. When Su Yin wanted to take Yutikin and Beager with him, they were nowhere to be found. Don't look for them. I've released them. Zhuolingyue's words completely poured a basin of cold water on Su Yun's warm heart. How could he let her go? Su Yunjin wanted nothing more than to call her mother and ask her what she meant by that. It must be known that Su Yin and Lin Ge had spent a lot of effort to control these two bastards. I know you'll ask me why. Zhuolingyue played it down. But I've already explained what I said before. It's because I'm here to help you, not Wan Guangxiao. My business is over after I save you. As for the rest, I have no obligation to help him. Su Yin was convinced. However, Zhuolingyue was his elder after all, and she had just helped him. If she hadn't come, Su Yin might not have been able to save himself, let alone capture them. Therefore, she had the right to release them. Answa, those two people are very important to my brother. Lin Ge said with a mournful expression. Don't scare us. You won't really let them go, right? Pigeon, you heard it clearly. Those two people aren't important to your brother. They're only meaningful to their troops. Zhuolingyue said. They can leave your brother in the lurch, and you still want to take advantage of the situation to do them a favor? You want to bring them back and let them enjoy the fruits of your labor? That's right. That's the logic behind this matter. Lin Ge patted his forehead. They had left his brother in the lurch. Why should he help them capture them? That's right. That's right, Answa. You're so considerate. Alas, Su Yin could only sigh helplessly in his heart. He didn't blame Lin Ge for thinking like this. After all, he was young and didn't consider so many things. But Zhuo Lingyue's thinking really made Su Yin angry and ridiculous. How could an adult fight with such childish anger? I've driven them into the sea. Whether they live or die depends on their own fortune. Zhuo Lingyue didn't care about Su Yin's feelings now. She just wanted to let Wan Guangxiao know that even if she had to do something for Su Yin, she would only do it for Su Yin. Finally leaving the island overflowing with flames, Su Yin felt like he was in a dream. Since he brought Matthew out of the tiger's mouth, these things were bound to happen. This was the price. Matthew could stay quietly in the tiger's mouth because the tiger cherished him and couldn't bear to eat him. But it didn't mean that others could eat him. Even if Matthew originally belonged to Huaxia, the giant dragon, if the giant dragon really took the fat away, the tiger would still not forgive. After all the countries in the world knew very well that Huaxia was still in the awakening period and hadn't really opened her eyes. Many countries were looking forward to the awakening of Huaxia, because only her awakening could make the world fairer and more peaceful, and make hegemony disappear completely. However, there were also a few countries that didn't want Huaxia to awaken. They clearly knew what Huaxia's awakening meant. It meant that their interests would suffer losses. It meant that hegemony would no longer exist. Su Yin, after you go back with me this time, I won't allow you to report to the Dragon Brigade. Zhuo Lingyue suddenly spoke, interrupting Su Yin's thoughts. Su Yin was stunned. He suspected that he had misheard. Why would Zhuo Lingyue interfere in his affairs? Ansua, I'm a member of the Dragon Brigade. Something just happened, so I definitely have to go back. I said I won't allow you to go back. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Zhuo Lingyue's emperor's qi really made people feel inexplicably huge pressure. Even Su Yin was a little breathless. But who was Su Yin? If he couldn't bear this pressure, he didn't deserve to be that man's son. Ansua, this is my own business. Su Yin said lightly. You can interfere in other things, but for my personal affairs, I'm afraid I can only say thank you. You're really a disobedient brat, Zhuo Lingyue said. Today I helped you, so you have to repay this favor. And my request isn't too much. Before I talk to that guy surnamed Wan, you're not allowed to go back. It's best if you agree. Even if you don't agree, you have to agree. Lin Ge looked at Su Yin, hinting him to quickly agree. After all, this was the Empress's request. Okay. After weighing the pros and cons, Su Yin agreed. Zhuo Lingyue was right. He indeed owed her a big favor. Under such circumstances, if he still didn't agree to her request, wouldn't he be too immature? Chapter 1467. Far away on the other side of the ocean, General Ade sat in his office with an ashen face. He was facing a Huaxia poem and calligraphy on the wall. This was written by him. Obviously, it was Wan Guangxiao who filled him with an eternal desire to learn about Huaxia culture. Thousands of sacred scrolls. I often feel that my heart is full of wisdom. Laughing wildly, I scatter visitors from all directions. I'm angry and wander to the Tiger Mountain. Unafraid of the foul wind and bloody rain. I sing a song for 10,000 miles. What is wrong with wandering alone? Overturning the heavens and earth to comfort my life. This was a Liangzhou song. General Ade thought of himself as a great person. Everyone who knew him also agreed that he was a great person. As for such a loss, it was indeed not something he could easily accept in a short period of time. The importance of the secret military base on Pingding Mountain Island to America was self-evident. However, such a secret base was completely destroyed today. However, he couldn't admit it. He couldn't use this to seek justice because they had never admitted their espionage activities. Once they admitted this secret base, it meant that they admitted their espionage activities against Asian countries. General Ade could only swallow this anger. He couldn't let the world know about the existence of this base. This feeling was like a thief who had his stolen wallet stolen. The wallet clearly contained his own money, but he couldn't report it to the police. At the same time, he had to arrange for someone to inform the Japanese authorities. He had to make the Japanese swallow their teeth and swallow this matter. He had no other choice but to accept all the damn things that had already happened. It was still unknown if the Japanese would cooperate with them. If those useless people in the Japanese cabinet did something irrational, then he would really be on the verge of breaking down. General, are we really going to let this matter go? No matter how important a decision was, there would always be a group of people who couldn't understand it. General Ade didn't want to say much to such people. He slowly turned around and said, "If you have a better idea, I'll let you have my seat." Everyone was silent. When General Ade turned around again, leaving them with only his back view, everyone chose to remain silent. There was no need to say anything more. General Ade had already admitted defeat. Inform all the agents in Huaxia to evacuate from Beijing immediately. General Ade said, "First, find a way to fade away from the other party's surveillance. After 3 days, withdraw from Huaxia in batches. No one is allowed to make any more mistakes." He had already lost enough. He couldn't afford any more losses. No one wanted to continue staying in this room to feel the oppressive atmosphere. The moment General Ade waved his hand to signal them to leave, everyone quickly left General Ade's office. There was only silence in the room. After a long time, General Ade raised his head and looked out the window. He muttered to himself, "After so many years, you are still my opponent. Back then, I was the one who was always at a disadvantage. Who would have thought that after so many years, the person I nurtured would still be at a disadvantage when facing the person you nurtured? Ha ha. Wan Guangxiao, do you really like being the nail in my eyes that much? You better not give me the chance to pull you out." After a pause, General Ade's eyes flashed with a cold light. "As long as I can pull you out, I will melt you into nothingness. I will make sure that you will never have the chance to continue being the nail in my eyes." Su Yun's safe return finally made everyone heave a sigh of relief. Bai Xiaoye glared at Su Yun with anger and hatred. This fellow is too arrogant. He actually dared to make such a big decision on his own. He made such a decision on his own, and put himself in such a dangerous situation. Even his own people didn't care about him. They almost couldn't see each other again. Although everyone was angry in their hearts, they were also glad. No one scolded Su Yun. They all knew very well that even if the same thing happened again, Su Yun would still do it because he didn't think that what he did was wrong. From his standpoint, this was the only thing he could do. This was the only answer. What about her? Bai Xiaoye had been waiting for her mother to appear. Since the last time they had a rift, they hadn't contacted each other. After she hid, she didn't know how to meet her mother again. However, because of Su Yun's matter, Bai Xiaoye had no choice but to brace herself and do it. However, Zhuolengyue didn't say anything. It was as if nothing had happened. She promised Bai Xiaoye with certainty, and told her not to worry. She would definitely bring Su Yun back safe and sound. She didn't blame Bai Xiaoye or make her emotional. Everything seemed to have faded away with time. However, only Bai Xiaoye knew that it was impossible for Zhuolengyue's heart to not hurt. Just like her, Zhuolengyue didn't express the pain in her heart. She didn't do it not for herself, but because she didn't want people who cared about her to worry about her. Although Su Yun's matter couldn't be considered a good thing, it gave Bai Xiaoye and Zhuolengyue a chance to calm down and have a talk. Bai Xiaoye thought it through. She should understand, forgive, and learn to be tolerant. Su Yun scolded Bai Xiaoye like an elder brother. "I say, child, have some manners. What do you mean by her? Who is she? Can't you call her respectfully?" Bai Xiaoye was speechless. However, Su Yun was right. "I'm just asking where's my mother?" "That's more like it," Su Yun said. "She has something to deal with and didn't come with us." Bai Xiaoye had always been afraid of facing someone she didn't know how to face. However, she didn't feel relaxed at all. Instead, her heart felt empty and inexplicably disappointed. "Brother, where did she go?" Bai Xiaoye asked. "Do you know?" Su Yun shrugged helplessly. "She went to cause trouble for me. If it were me, I would do the same." Ruan Qingshuang hadn't said anything until now. However, she couldn't help but say, "I know you have your responsibilities. You have your own choices and choices. When it comes to personal and national decisions, national interests and reputation are more important than anything else. However, I'm still angry about this matter." In fact, it wasn't just Ruan Qingshuang. Everyone felt that this was unfair. I understand your feelings, but this matter was truly my own misjudgment. It was my own choice that caused the problem. Su-yin. This has nothing to do with them. Really, if I were them, I would have made the same choice as them. Brother, you're not that cold-blooded, Lin-gu suddenly said. You don't have the right to speak. Go away. Su-yin kicked him. This guy didn't help him, and even added fuel to the fire. It was hard enough for him to explain this matter alone, but this brat still didn't help him. Su-yin took a deep breath. It's my fault. Lin-gu is right. Bai Xiaoya also went into a dead end. You're not that cold-blooded. I agree too. After Zhou Meiyan said that, she immediately avoided Su-yun's gaze. Chang and the others also wanted to say something, but Su-yun glared at them and stopped them. Cho-yun didn't avoid Su-yun's gaze at all. She said directly, because you're not in that position, you can say it easily. If it were you, you wouldn't have answered so easily. Then we should understand them and the chief even more. He also struggled when he made such a decision. Su-yun. Remember, my identity will never change, and my responsibilities will never change. Some things aren't right or wrong. It's just a matter of position. Chapter 1468. Stand. Zhuo Lingyue slapped on Wan Guangxiao's desk and glared at Wan Guangxiao, as if she was interrogating a criminal. Wan Guangxiao really didn't know what to do. He was afraid that he couldn't explain it clearly. It was a matter of stand. Zhuo Lingyue couldn't understand it. It would be a waste of time no matter how much he said. So, he might as well let her vent her anger. After all, Wan Guangxiao could think from Zhuo Lingyue's point of view. If he were in Zhuo Lingyue's position, he would also do the same. He would never ignore Su Yun's danger. After Zhuo Lingyue arrived at Yanjing, the first thing she did was to go straight to the Dragon Brigade. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu happened to be on duty at the gate, who were in charge of security and reception. They had already imprinted Zhuo Lingyue's appearance and identity in their minds. Seeing her, they naturally didn't dare to neglect her, and directly escorted her to the chief's office. The moment Wan Guangxiao saw her, he knew that she came to ask him for an explanation. He was bound to be scolded today. However, he had to explain what he needed to do. He analyzed and explained everything about the country's reputation and personal interests. No matter whether Zhuo Lingyue would understand or not, he had to make his position clear. He wanted to let her know that if she were him, she wouldn't be able to handle this matter either. However, the word stand was so meaningless in Zhuo Lingyue's eyes. Wan Guangxiao didn't dare to describe it as playing the lute to a cow. There was only one person who could persuade and control Zhuo Lingyue, and it was impossible for this one person to come here and help him out. Wan Guangxiao didn't have any disgust or displeasure. It was also a good thing that someone came to yell at him. I don't care what you say. I'm here today to tell you that Su Yin is no longer under your control. Zhuo Lingyue said quite firmly. Do you understand? After this incident, I can't leave him with you anymore. Wan Guangxiao frowned. Although he was much older than Zhuo Lingyue, he really couldn't do anything to this empress who had always been qualified to be arrogant in front of anyone. Zhuo Lingyue, I'm afraid you don't have the final say in this matter. You and I both know why Su Yin is in the Dragon Brigade. Zhuo Lingyue shook her head, ignoring Wan Guangxiao's explanation. Just say what you want to say, but you have to hand him over to me. Impossible. Even if it was a person, he would. That person. When. That brat. Su. From that moment. We understood his intention of. Back. That year. From the time he was a little kid to the time he was a talent, all of his paths had been here. You know the meaning, knew the meaning, know the meaning. Today is today. Zhuo Lingyue said, I'm no longer that ignorant little girl. I won't be jealous of Su Yin because he is the child of that woman. The Zhuo Lingyue of that year has changed. Let me make it clear to you today. When I chose to be with him, I never thought that I could become his only true love. I know that the love of his life is only her, not me. But I'm willing. I don't ask for much. I just need to know that he's taken out a little bit of his heart to love me. That's enough. Wan Guangxiao frowned. He didn't want to talk about this issue. However, Zhuo Lingyue entered this topic. Alas, In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. However, Wan Guangxiao could still vividly remember what had happened in the past. He fell silent. He didn't know how to continue this topic. He didn't know what to say or talk about with Zuolingyue. Perhaps at this time, the most suitable identity for Wan Guangxiao was to be a listener. I was the one who made the mistake in the beginning. If it weren't for my willfulness, Zhang Taisui wouldn't have sent Su Yin here. Zuolingyue's face was expressionless and her eyes were dull. She was completely immersed in those extraordinary years. 10 years ago, I began to regret it. When I saw my daughter grow up day by day, and she could only call me master, I realized my mistake. How many decades could there be in a person's life? Zuolingyue's mistake lasted 10 years. How much she regretted it couldn't be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. Instead, she needed to make up for it with her whole life. If she hadn't been so willful, if she had understood everything like now, Su Yin might have grown up with her, and Xiaoye wouldn't have needed to call her master for so many years. She wouldn't have had to endure so many years of suffering. 10 years ago, she wanted to make up for everything. But after all, it had happened so long ago that she didn't have the courage to admit it to her daughter. She also didn't have the confidence to make Su Yin, who was already 15 years old at that time, accept her. Therefore, the matter had been dragged on like this. It had been dragged on and on forever. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years had passed. It wasn't until Su Yin was chosen to be sacrificed by the Dragon Brigade that Bai Xiaoye asked her for help for her brother, who was related to her by blood, that Zuolingyue suddenly realized her mistake. After all, humans were emotional creatures. Life wasn't long. No matter if it was an ordinary person or a great person, they weaved their life with joy, anger, sorrow and joy. Zuolingyue regretted for 10 years. For anyone, this punishment was huge. She had been looking for opportunities to make up for it, but she realized that she would never have the chance to make up for it. No matter what she did, it was impossible. But suddenly, through this matter, she realized that her 2 children had unknowingly tolerated everything she had done. This had a huge impact on Zuolingyue's heart. She had never thought that she could be forgiven. Even if such a day came, it wouldn't be over so easily. But everything was so simple. The tolerance and understanding of her 2 children made this arrogant woman, who had been arrogant since she could remember, realize that there was no one who didn't make mistakes in life. But mistakes couldn't be avoided. They had to be shouldered and faced. And the higher a person's status was, the bigger their heart should be. They should be able to accommodate the 4 seas and shake heaven and earth. Only then could they live without regrets. Leader Wan, you're a leader. You have so many subordinates. Just give Su Yin back to me. This was the first time Zuolingyue called Wan Guangxiao this way. This made Wan Guangxiao a little surprised, because in his memory, Zuolingyue called him Wan Guangxiao. Even calling him by his full name sounded nice. Wan Guangxiao heaved a long sigh. I understand your feelings. I also understand that you want to make up for it. But I also hope you can understand that there are some things that can't be made up by wishful thinking. That way, it will be counterproductive. No matter what you say, I won't let Su Yin come back. In the end, Zuolingyue was still very determined. I know what you did was for the country, for the righteousness, and for the happiness and well-being of more than 1 billion people in Huaxia. But even so, I won't let Su Yin stay here and take risks. Wan Guangxiao was silent for a while. If you can persuade him, I have nothing to say. I only have one request. Zuolingyue regained her calmness. You owe me this time, so you have to promise me. Go ahead. Of course, Wan Guangxiao recognized this favor. This time he did owe Zuolingyue. If it weren't for Su Yin, she wouldn't have helped him at all. If it weren't for Zuolingyue, Wan Guangxiao could only suffer in silence for the sake of the country's reputation, and let Ade think that he was a coward. Therefore, no matter what requests Zuolingyue had, he would promise her without hesitation. Zuolingyue said very seriously, I don't allow you and all of you to persuade Su Yin to stay here in any way. This is my only request. You're a gentleman. I believe you can do it. Wan Guangxiao was silent for a few seconds. Then he nodded slowly and said with difficulty, Okay. Chapter 1469. Su Yin had never thought that Zhuolingyue would go to the Dragon Brigade to ask for someone. He thought she was just there to vent her emotions. He had never thought that Zhuolingyue would ask Wan Guangxiao to withdraw from the Dragon Brigade. That was too ridiculous. When Zhuolingyue returned to Guqin Island and stood in front of Su Yin to ask Su Yin to cut off all ties with the Dragon Brigade, Su Yin's eyes almost popped out. What a joke. Ever since he was sent to the Dragon Brigade by his godfather, he had spent 80% of his time there. Now she asked him to forget that place and never go back. That meant he would never go back there again? That meant he could forget it all of a sudden? Even if Su Yin said he could forget it, who would believe him? Even Zhuolingyue wouldn't believe him, right? Su Yin shook his head like a rattledrum. Auntie Zhua, this is my business. You don't need to worry about it. Whether I go back or not, I can make the decision myself. I'm not a bird that has never left its nest. I'm not a child that has never left home. I'm already in my 20s. I can make the right choice about what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and how I should go about my life. You can't. Zhuolingyue's words were resolute and decisive. Today's meeting was held by her. All the people present were Su Yin's closest friends. There was no outsider. Today, Zhuolingyue wanted to tell Su Yin what he should do with public opinion instead of reasoning with him. This was because she knew very well that a young man in his 20s who had seen the world would definitely be more reasonable than anyone else. Since they couldn't solve this problem with their so-called standpoint, Zhuolingyue wanted to solve it with public opinion. She wanted Su Yin to see with his own eyes that some things he should do, dangers and responsibilities he should bear. If he bore them, how many people would bear them for him at the same time? I know that you are unconvinced, but today, you are more familiar with everyone here than I am. With a single word from you, all of these little brothers of yours would dare to die for you. Zhuolingyue says indifferently. She takes a look at Chang and says, with his small body he can deal with some small ruffians in the streets and alleys. But how can he fight against the well-equipped American soldiers in that island base? But do you know what he said that day? Su Yin was stunned. Only now did he understand why Zhuolingyue asked them to gather in the largest conference room of the film and television base. Let him repeat himself. Zhuolingyue said, "You're Chang, right? Repeat what you said to me that night." "Don't do that, Auntie. Auntie Zhua, I'm too pretentious to say that in front of Brother Yin. No, I can't say it." Chang waved his hand repeatedly. "Those words will rot in my stomach. Just pretend that nothing happened." Zhuolingyue orders, "Say it." Whether I'm pretentious or not, I just want to let Su Yin know. He definitely can't say it. Brother Chang seems to be thick-skinned, but in fact he is not. Little Northeast says, "Brother Yin, Auntie Zhua didn't let us go with them at that time. She said that the American soldiers were well-equipped, and we would be in danger if we went." Brother Chang said that even if it was dangerous, he would still go even if he knew that he would die. Even if he could only block a bullet for you, it would not be a waste of his flesh. Chang is embarrassed. He doesn't know why he said such words that day. It's too embarrassing. Su Yin is stunned. He doesn't feel pretentious at all. For a long time, Su Yin has a deep-rooted belief that those who can live and die with him, and throw away their lives for him without hesitation are all brothers of the Dragon Fury team. Today, he suddenly realized that the brothers he had met in society could also share life and death with him. They could also throw their lives away for him without batting an eyelid. "Su Yin, you heard it, right?" Zhuolingyue says. This is Chang's words. What he said is not only his heart, but also everyone's heart. Su Yin is silent. He doesn't know how to thank her. "Why do you think you can come back alive?" Zhuolingyue continues. "Is it because you are lucky? Is it because you are destined? No, it's all because of me." The whole conference room is very quiet. This time, Su Yin can turn danger into safety completely because of Zhuolingyue. If it wasn't for Zhuolingyue, all the consequences would be unimaginable. If you can be a little more of a bastard, you can say that you didn't ask me to save you. Zhuolingyue says indifferently. You didn't say that, which means you are not a bastard. I have no interest in taking credit in front of you. I just want you to think clearly. If it wasn't for me, what would the consequences be like? Everyone was very clear about the strength of the people Zhuolingyue had gathered that day. Suyin didn't dare to say that those people were all experts above the earth profound realm, but he had to admit that if he were to be thrown in, he would definitely be one of the weakest few among those people. If it wasn't for me, there would still be people to save you. If it wasn't for me, there would still be people to help you. Zuolingyue's words are like a sharp blade cutting through Su Yun's heart. Lin Ge wouldn't have left you alone. Xiao Yi wouldn't have left you alone. Everyone who knows about this matter wouldn't have left you alone. Su Yun lowers his head heavily. Because we don't belong to your army, we don't know your so-called position. We can't take into account the interests and reputation loss that you can. There is only one thing we can think of. Zuolingyue's words become sharper and sharper. That is, we can't let you die. We have to save you no matter what the price is. Do you understand? Everyone is silent. Although it didn't happen like that, they all know that Zuolingyue's words are indeed a reality that hasn't been realized yet. If it wasn't for Zuolingyue, these people would still try to save Su Yun at all costs. Just like what Chang said, even if they know that they will die, they will still choose to die voluntarily. If it wasn't for Zuolingyue's words, Su Yun will never be shocked like this. At this moment, Su Yun feels like his heart is being fiercely squeezed by someone. That kind of pain is indescribable with words. He hated himself for not understanding other people's hearts earlier. Why didn't he think of everyone earlier? He only considered his own position, his own identity, and the goals he wanted to achieve. However, he neglected others. Su Yun, you said that you are no longer a kid, nor a bird that hasn't flown out of its nest. Zuolingyue says indifferently. You can make your own decision. Think about it carefully. Look into each of their eyes and think clearly. Do you still want to go back? Even so, Su Yun still can't make this decision. He can't abandon the brigade. He stops his eyes on Ruan Qingshuang. She has always been the one who understands him the most. Su Yun hopes that she can say something. But this time, Ruan Qingshuang chooses to be silent. She avoids Su Yun's eyes. It's not that she can't understand Su Yun, but she can't understand why the troop gives up the rescue of Su Yun. Ruan Qingshuang knows Su Yun's group of extraordinary brothers. If they take action, they can also bring Su Yun back safe and sound. But they didn't do so. The reason why Ruan Qingshuang can't understand is very simple. It's because they are indifferent to Su Yun. Ruan Qingshuang is just a girl who has lived an ordinary life since childhood. She doesn't know what is righteousness. She only knows that as long as Su Yun stays in that place, there will be more danger. Chapter 1470. I've always thought that sacrificing one's brothers for the sake of one's face and reputation would only happen in the underground world's major forces. Zuomeyan smiled faintly, but I didn't expect that your troop would do the same. You're not the most important thing. Even in the underground world, sacrificing one's brothers for something is disgraceful. Cho Yun's words were more resolute. Her way of expressing her emotions had always been concise and clear. She either didn't say anything or hit the nail on the head. Cho Yun was telling the truth. The reason why Zuolingyue didn't want Su Yun to go back was not only because she was worried about Su Yun, but also because she felt that Wan Guangxiao's handling of this matter was shameful. From the bottom of her heart, she firmly believed that this was something that only a vile person would do. However, Wan Guangxiao's identity and the impression that Wan Guangxiao gave her was not a villain. Therefore, his behavior disappointed Zuolingyue so much. This was also one of the main reasons why Zuolingyue had to be so ruthless. In the final analysis, except for Su Yun, no one at the scene could understand Wan Guangxiao's behavior. They only thought about Su Yun. Su Yun was the only one who wouldn't think for himself, and would try to understand. Brother, I don't know whether I should say something or not. Lin Ge said indifferently. I suddenly realized why I was sent away that year. It's not so complicated. It's just because I'm not the same kind of person as you. After a pause, Lin Ge continued. I don't care whether I belong to your troop or not. If you're in danger, I'll do whatever it takes. That's what the person who brought me up taught me. That's what my senior brothers and sisters taught me. Perhaps it was because of different living environments that people's personalities and thoughts were different. Facing such a situation, even the most impulsive Qianfeng in the Dragon Brigade suppressed his impulsiveness. Lin Ge, who had always been calm, also lost his composure. All eyes in the meeting room were filled with hope and advice. They all hoped that Su Yin could leave. As long as Su Yin left, it seemed that all the trouble would be left behind. This was what many people hoped for, and how many people looked forward to. The responsibility was on Su Yin's shoulders. Only he knew in his heart whether this responsibility could be removed. I can understand him, Qin Wan'er suddenly said. After hearing about what happened to Su Yin, she did not hesitate to put down all her work and rush to Qingdao. She was also the only one who did not complain after knowing that the army would not rescue Su Yin. As a police officer, Qin Wan'er could understand. It was just like she didn't want her badge to be damaged in any way. That kind of personal plot could only be understood when one was in the position, and the thing happened to them. Therefore Qin Wan'er could understand, but she only understood. She would not agree, because what she cared about was Su Yin. But seeing Su Yin in a difficult position, Qin Wan'er could not help but speak for him. Some reputation is indeed more important than a person's life. Everyone has different values. Of course. Su Yin, I also want to tell you that I understand you. Many of us understand you, but understanding does not mean we support you. Su Yin was already very satisfied that someone understood him. You won't force us to agree with you, Qin Wan'er said. Similarly, we won't force you to agree with us. We just need to understand each other. The final decision still belongs to you. No matter what choice you make, we will support you. Qin Wan'er was the first to express her opinion. Everyone else nodded in agreement. Indeed, they absolutely respected Su Yin's choice. Even if Su Yin's choice was not what they wanted. I'm not that careless, Zhuo Meiyan said. I've wanted you to leave that place for a long time. Although I know you won't leave that place so easily, I just want to express my opinion. Sky Entertainment Group is the blood and sweat of the old man. We are all doing our best to help you take care of it. But Sky Entertainment Group is what the old man wants you to take care of. Su Yin did not have the time to take care of Sky Entertainment Group. It was a mess. But if he thought about it carefully, it was the truth. This was what he should take care of. He did not care about it at all. Why should others do their best? Wasn't it all for him? Su Yin's decision would inevitably hurt these people's hearts. This made Su Yin feel very conflicted. I know that everyone is thinking for me. I also know that my decision is not perfect. Su Yin put his hand on his chest. But I have to do things that are worthy of my conscience. The country gave me this identity and gave me this responsibility. They trained me to contribute to the country. Everything I've done is a responsibility on my shoulders. It's something I can't just ignore. There are so many people in the Dragon Brigade. You don't have to do everything. Zhuo Yue was determined to keep Su Yin away from the Dragon Brigade. In this world, it's the same without anyone. Without you, Su Yin, the Dragon Brigade can handle everything. Su Yin knew what Zhuo Yue was thinking. He did not refute. Yes, it's the same without me. But these things are what I should do. That's good, Zhuo Yue said. I asked Wang Guangxiao why he was willing to give you up. Wang Guangxiao said the same thing. Without you, the Dragon Brigade can handle everything. Su Yin did not answer. He knew that Zhuo Yue was provoking him. Wang Guangxiao would not say such words. How about this? Zhuo Yue suddenly said. Now you call him in front of everyone. Ask him if he will ask you to stay if you leave. If he asks you to stay, we have nothing to say. Because the Dragon Brigade can't do without you. You have to do what you have to do. Zhuo Yue's tone changed. But if he doesn't ask you to stay, you have to listen to our advice. Leave the Dragon Brigade, even if it's just for a period of time. Take it as a holiday so that everyone can relax. Su Yin was silent for a while and nodded. Well, since Zhuo Yue had spoken, he would do as she said. Su Yin was 100% confident that the chief would tell him that the brigade couldn't do without him. There were still many things for him to deal with in the brigade and the country, because these were all his responsibilities. Su Yin was very confident when he made this call. However, the result was completely different from what he had imagined. Wang Guangxiao did not say that the brigade couldn't do without him, nor did he ask him to stay. Instead, he followed Su-yun's words and said that if he wanted to take a break, he could. He didn't need to worry about those unfinished things. There would always be someone who could shoulder them. Su-yun did not know that this was the condition that Zhuo Lingyue had put forward to Wan Guangxiao. Therefore, when he hung up the phone, his face was still full of surprise and confusion. However, this answer made the others heave a sigh of relief. Su-yun was a man, and his words were as firm as nails. He had already promised Zhuo Lingyue, at least for this period of time, he could relax and leave those troublesome matters behind. Boy, remember, in this world, no matter who leaves, it will continue. This was the last sentence that Zhuo Lingyue left before she left. This was also the truth that she had spent a long time to understand after she lost that man. This principle was universal, not only in love, but also in everything else. Chapter 1471. The earth would still rotate without anyone. The 4 seasons would still change. It wouldn't change because of anyone's departure. Everything would remain the same. Humans were the same. In their lifetime, they would face countless gatherings and separations. If there was a gathering, there would be a parting. There was a saying, all good things must come to an end. Everyone would leave one day. Even if it was their parents and children, a golden boy and a jade girl, no one could stay together forever. There would always be a day when one of them would leave first. Of course, the one left behind would feel sad, but this sadness could only be a part of the 7 emotions and 6 desires of a person's life. The sadness would eventually dissipate one day. For example, a man and a woman who had just broken up. If it wasn't for emotional reasons, that kind of pain would torment a person for a very long time. It would make them think that the world had dimmed because of it. But in the end, time would prove that there was no pain that couldn't be endured. Time was the best medicine for any wound. It would slowly heal. Although the wound would still hurt on special days, it would no longer bleed. That was enough. Some people, some things in this lifetime, might just turn around and completely turn over. The word forever existed like a lie, but also like a truth. When the word forever was used to describe reunion, it was a lie. There was no such thing as forever together, no such thing as forever together. And when the word forever was used to describe separation, it was a truth. Many separations would last forever, and there would never be a chance to see each other again. Reunion wasn't easy. Separation was easy. Reunion and separation were easy. Let Su-yun leave the Dragon Brigade forever. Su-yun couldn't do it. Even if he knew that one day he would leave forever, it shouldn't be now. Fortunately, Su-yun believed that his brothers would be able to bear the heavy responsibility of protecting the country. He could also leave with peace of mind. The sudden relaxation made Su-yun feel very comfortable for the next few days. He tried to let himself relax and experience the feeling of being the CEO of Sky Entertainment and an ordinary person. Every morning, he would run for half an hour, eat a healthy breakfast, and then take a beauty sleep. When he woke up, he would start to deal with all kinds of matters in Sky Entertainment with the help of Ruan Qingshuang and Zhuo Meiyan. He signed all kinds of documents until his fingers were cramping. Apart from lunch and a 2-hour lunch break, there was no free time at all. Su-yun didn't expect this at all. Before he worked in this position, Su-yun thought that the president was very free. Everything was done by the subordinates. What was there to be busy about? However, he never thought that although he didn't have to do anything himself, there were so many people and departments under him. In the end, the decision-making power was in his hands. Not only did he have to make a decision, but he also had to make a judgment. He had to consider the feasibility of all these things. If he didn't consider everything thoroughly, he would have to hold a meeting to discuss it. How could he not be busy? If he didn't work himself to death, then he would be the boss of a group that would eventually lose everything. Every night, when Ruan Qingshuang and the others went to do yoga, Su-yun would call Lin Ge to go to the gym with him. They would sweat all over, take a shower, and go to the swimming pool to vent the accumulated soreness from the whole day. Their stiff bodies would regain their flexibility. This could be considered a very healthy life. It was much better than sitting on the sofa of the KTV after eating every day and singing. After singing, they would go to the bar to drink until they were exhausted and went home to sleep. During his time in Qingdao, Su-yun slowly understood what was meant by fulfilling. In fact, an ordinary person's life could also be very fulfilling. It didn't have to be a meaningless life. Sometimes, when he couldn't sleep late at night, Su-yun would turn on the computer and build a story tree. He would record some of his past in the way of a script. Maybe one day he would really want to be a director and make a real sharp blade of the nation. Of course, this was too real. Whether a certain general administration of electricity would be able to approve it was still a question. Things were always mysterious and attractive. Why were the things made up out of thin air in movies, TV shows, and novels attractive? It was because no one could tell whether those stories were true or false. Perhaps, many of the things that you see are exaggerated adaptations of real things. Su-yun would often type some stories about experts like them on the keyboard. And these stories could only be treated as jokes by the public. The only one who knew of his real existence was Su-yun, who had written it. Comfortable days always had to be interrupted. On this day, the sun was high in the sky and the temperature had warmed up. After Su-yun dealt with a few review documents in his hands, he stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window in the office and enjoyed the sunshine. However, he saw a ruined Wrangler SUV rush into the office area of the Film and Television Square base and stop at the entrance of the office building. The people from the security department went forward and were about to take him down, but the person who opened the door and got out of the car shouted, "Ask your boss to come out. I have something to see him about." Through the huge floor-to-ceiling window, Su-yun carefully identified the barbaric guy downstairs. He had no impression of him at all. However, for the sake of his absolutely cool modified Wrangler off-road vehicle, Su-yun decided to meet this person. "Who do you think you are?" "See our boss." "Bah." The people from the security department were not to be trifled with. They were all elites. Who was afraid of who? The guy who got out of the Wrangler unceremoniously patted the hood of the car. "Don't be so cocky with me. Let me tell you, if you don't hurry up and notify me, don't regret it later. If you delay my important matters, be careful that your boss doesn't let you get out of here. Brothers, we met a lunatic today. Kill him." The head of the security team waved his hand. "Open your dog eyes and see where you are before you barge in. Teach him a lesson. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. Don't regret it if you make a move." As the guy who drove the Wrangler spoke, he did a backflip and jumped onto the roof of the car with one hand supporting the front of the car. He was definitely as nimble as a monkey. "You bunch of idiots, listen carefully. I'll say it one last time. Get your boss to see me immediately. Go." The head of the security team didn't hesitate and ordered. At this time, Su-yun had already arrived downstairs. He walked out of the office door and said lightly, "Looking for me? I don't think we know each other." When Su-yun came out, the security team quickly surrounded him to protect him. The head of the security team explained helplessly, "Mr. Su, this is all my fault. I didn't pay attention and this guy rushed in. He broke the landing pole at the door." Speaking of this, the head of the security team fiercely looked back at the guy who drove the Wrangler. "You destroyed private property. Pay me the money immediately. Otherwise, I'll call the police to warn you and detain you for 8 to 10 days. TSK, go ahead and sue me. Let's see if your boss will let you sue me." The guy who drove the Wrangler smirked. "A bunch of idiots. The Northerners should know that idiots were called eunuchs." It was quite sarcastic to use it to scold people. The group of men in the security team couldn't stand it. They all rubbed their fists and were ready to teach this guy a lesson. However, Su-yun didn't have the intention to let them do it. Instead, he said lightly, "You've modified the car well." "Of course." The guy who drove the Wrangler said proudly. "This brother made it himself. It's the only one in the whole country. If you're done showing off, come down and talk nicely." Su-yun said, "If you have something to say to me, then say it. If not, then get lost. I'll also remind you that you're not my brother. If you want to act big in front of me, it's about time. Also, I'll also remind you that my temper is not as good as you think." Chapter 1472. Su-yun walked back to his office without looking back. The guy who drove the Wrangler jumped off the roof. The security guards who were scolded by him wanted to beat him up. Seeing this, the guy hurriedly shouted, "If you want to talk, then talk. Don't hit me. You heard it. Your boss invited me in to talk. If I can't get in today, then you'll be the ones fired tomorrow." The security guards were anxious and angry. This guy was really asking for a beating. However, Soo-Yun didn't make it clear whether he wanted to give him a chance to talk or not. They didn't dare to hit him and kick him out. They were in a dilemma. Fortunately, someone spoke up and gave them an idea. "What kind of skills does our boss Soo have? Not to mention that this weak guy won't be able to hurt him. Even if there are 10 felons, our boss Soo won't be afraid. If you let him in, if he looks for trouble, he'll be asking for trouble." That's right. It's okay to let him in. However, if he really has something important to say and you stop him, then our boss Soo will blame you. A Sky Entertainment employee who knew a little about Soo-Yun analyzed. These words were quite reasonable, and the few security guards finally made way for him. "Grandson, you better remember this. If you are chased out by our Chief Soo in a while, then we will really let you know what methods we have." The guy who drove the Wrangler clicked his tongue. "What kind of methods? Are you going to eat me alive? Stop trying to scare me. I've been scared since I was a child. If you have any skills, then show them to me. Don't make me look down on you." "Brothers, did you hear this guy's provocation? Then let's show him what we have." The head of the security team shouted, "This car is in the way. It's affecting our building's leaders. Brothers, give me a hand and help me carry this troublesome thing away." "Okay." The security guards immediately surrounded the Wrangler. They tightened their belts and breathed into their palms. It looked like they were really going to move the car. The modification expert who had always treated the Wrangler as a treasure immediately glared at him. "Lift it. Even if you want to burn this car, I won't say a word." This big guy originally weighed close to 2,000 kilograms, but after being tormented by him, it became even heavier. 4,000 caddies of weight with just a few security guards. How could they possibly carry it away? No way. However, under the leadership of the captain of the security force, the 7 or 8 security guards really opened his eyes. They really lifted the car and walked away. Because of the modifications, the entire car was an easy place to attack. Once the car was on the shoulder, everyone could use their strength. This time the guy's eyes almost popped out of their sockets, but a man of his word couldn't be taken back. Before he left, he gritted his teeth and said, "Burn it. Even if I burn it, I won't let you guys pay for it. I am a man of my word." After that, the guy didn't care about his precious car anymore and rushed into the office building to chase after Soo-Yun. Soo-Yun didn't take the elevator, but went straight to the stairs. He heard the hurried footsteps behind him, but he didn't turn back to ask anything. He still walked upstairs unhurriedly. If there was anything to say, he would say it when he reached the office. Seeing Soo-Yun so calm, the guy who hurriedly caught up coughed twice, tidied up his clothes, and followed behind Soo-Yun unhurriedly, as if nothing had happened. He couldn't let others see that he wasn't calm enough. The two walked silently all the way to the office. At this time, Lin-Go also came back from his work outside. Because he was prepared to stay in Qingdao for a long time to help Soo-Yun deal with the film and television base, Fangya got the opportunity to be transferred to Qingdao's looting film and television base, through her own efforts in fighting. For the past few days, Lin-Go had been busy helping Fangya with some of her errands. Everything at the airport had just been settled, and Fangya would be officially employed tomorrow. He directly picked her up and prepared to treat everyone to dinner in the evening. Before the car was turned off, people from the security department came out carrying a modified Wrangler. At that time, Lin-Go jumped out of the car and walked directly to them. "What's going on?" "Oh, Mr. Lin, you don't know. Just now, a scoundrel came and blocked the car directly in front of the office building." The security team leader sighed. Lin-Go certainly believed this. There were only 4 steps in front of the office building, and this car could definitely be driven up. If the driver was skilled, it wouldn't be a problem to drive this thing directly up the stairs. As long as the car didn't bump on the ground, this modified car was amazing. "We have no choice but to carry this car out." The security team leader continued. "No matter what, it can't affect everyone's normal work. This car, we have to carry it out." Lin-Go glanced at the car and saw that there was no one in it. He frowned and asked, "Where is he? Where is he? I'll go meet him." Who on earth had the guts to come here and cause trouble? In Qingdao, there really wasn't anyone who dared to challenge the Sky Entertainment Group's Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. The leaders of the municipal government, the leaders of the various departments, the gangs led by Shirley and Songshan were all respectful to Su Yun's territory. It wasn't that they hadn't caused trouble before, but their ending was miserable. First, they were beaten half to death by Shirley. Later, they were sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison for causing trouble. And it was guaranteed that these people wouldn't have a good time in prison. Whether it was the prison bully or the head of the prison, which one of them didn't Shirley know? There were even a few people who had been with him before. It was very easy to teach these people a lesson. After 3 to 5 times, whether it was the leaders of Qingdao or the head of the gangsters, they all knew who they couldn't touch and who they couldn't provoke. Lin Ge was really surprised that someone suddenly came to cause trouble today. Who on earth ate the bear's heart and leopard's guts? He really wanted to see who it was. He has gone to Boss Su's office. The security team leader said. What? You couldn't stop one person? Lin Ge was a little speechless. What was the use of carrying a car out? Boss Lin, don't worry. It's not that we couldn't stop him. It's Boss Su who asked him to go. The security team leader said. We don't know what he means, but he can't hurt Boss Su alone, so we. That's true. Lin Ge was relieved. Since it was Brother Yun who asked him to go, then it was a different story. Why are you so mysterious? Since my brother knows him. Why didn't you say so earlier? No, we don't know him. The security team leader said. Boss Su didn't say that he knew him. And it looks like he really doesn't know him. Doesn't know him? Lin Ge frowned again. Forget it, he should go up and see the situation. Lin Ge ran to the car and asked Fangya to get out. He gave her the key to his office and asked her to wait for him in his office. He had to go to Su Yun's office first. Lin Ge was now a person of status. He was the vice president of the Business Expansion Department of Sky Entertainment Group. He was definitely a person of high status. Recently, he had been learning management from Ruan Qingshuang. In the future, he would strive to be a qualified manager. With his current status, Lin Ge must be able to meet Fangya's parents openly. After all, Fangya was the only daughter of Xinjiang. She came all the way to Qingdao to work for him. Her family was dissatisfied with this matter. Lin Ge could only use his own excellence to prove to her parents that he was worthy of their daughter's sacrifice. No matter if a person was vain or not, in some matters, they really needed to give face to their vanity. Without this face, some things wouldn't work. Chapter 1473. If you have something to say, just say it. After returning to the office, Su Yun went straight to the point. I'll give you 3 minutes. Oh, Mr. Su, you're too direct. At least ask me what my name is and what I do. The young wrangler didn't expect Su Yun to be so straightforward. You're asking me to get down to business. I'm really embarrassed to talk about it. Su Yun said bluntly. I saw that your car was modified really well. I don't want my security guards to cripple your hands because of such a small matter. Otherwise, such good craftsmanship would be wasted. Do you understand? Understood. The young man nodded. Even a fool can understand what you're saying. You're interested in my pair of modified hands, not me. If it weren't for the fact that I cleaned up the car, you would have already thrown me into the sea to feed the sharks, right? Su Yun looked at the young man and felt that he was a bit familiar. I'm a decent businessman. I won't do those things like murder and arson. But if you want to disturb me, I won't let you go easily. It's that simple. Okay, you still have 2 minutes. What's the matter? Are you going to say it or not? Knock, knock, knock. The office door was knocked 3 times. Lin Ge didn't wait for Su Yun to answer and pushed the door open. He just asked the secretary, and she said that Brother Yun and the uninvited guest just entered the office a minute ago. Lin Ge went in and called him brother. Then he began to look up and down at the young man sitting opposite Su Yun. The young man was dressed well. His whole body was basically branded from head to toe. His small face was also quite white. At first glance, one could tell that he was raised by a rich family. Who's this guy? The young man looked at Lin Ge unhappily. This is too rude. He just pushed the door open and entered without asking if there's anyone inside. As the CEO, you can't just ignore it. What if you and the secretary have some sex in the office? Wouldn't this guy see it? The secretary outside the door blushed when she heard this. Soo-Yun originally did not have the intention to hit this grandson, but now he really wanted to raise his hand and slap him. This child must have eaten something messy, right? Why did he have the guts to say such nonsense? As soon as Lin Ge closed the door, he pointed at the kid's nose and scolded, "If you dare to talk nonsense to me again, let's see if I dare to tear your mouth apart and throw you into the sea to feed the sharks. You just said that you're a businessman and won't do things like murder and arson. TSK, TSK, TSK. Your subordinate is making a fool out of himself." The young man shrugged. "It's okay. If you really want to feed me to the sharks, then take me. Anyway, my family has been ruined by you. There's no point in me living anymore. If I die, then I die. It's worth it to leave my corpse for the police to investigate all of you. What was this guy trying to do? If you have something to say, say it. If you have something to say, say it. Don't talk nonsense in the company. Who ruined your family? We don't even know you." Lin Ge was anxious. Whose kid's brain isn't working well? "Brother, don't worry about this. I'll send him to the police station." Lin Ge couldn't sit still in the face of such a guy who was talking nonsense. After all, this was the company. There were so many people, and the more people there were, the easier it would be. If rumors were to spread, it would really make people think of Soo-Yun as a villain. Who's talking nonsense? What evidence do you have to say that I'm talking nonsense? The young man glared. Who do you think you are? I'm here to ask Soo-Yun. Why are you interfering? What's your identity? What's wrong with you? Whether Soo-Yun did it or not, he knows clearly in his heart. You don't have to quibble for him here. Soo-Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Seeing that Lin Ge was about to hit him, he had to stand up and stop him. Pigeon, let him say it. I really want to hear it. When did I ruin someone's family? Lin Ge was speechless. If Big Brother Yin hadn't spoken up, he would have slapped that B*****'s mouth until it was broken. Good. Good. The one with the surname Su, then you listen to me clearly. If you're a man, then admit it openly. The young man said, I don't change my name. I'm Yu Tianjiao. Lin Ge couldn't hold back and laughed out loud. What Tianjiao? Looking at this guy's clothes and car, he knew that he was a prodigal. What Tianjiao? Soo-Yun frowned. This Beijing accent, it can't be? Why? Did you think of something? President Su, did you find your conscience? What you've done has seriously affected our family. Our family is already broken and our people are dead. You can still sit in the office without any worries, ha ha ha. You are really a person with a conscience. Mr. Su, I ask you to put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, have you been living a good life recently? Yu Tianjiao's face was full of displeasure. Your brain is really not working well, right? Lin Ge said. I'll warn you again. No one here knows you. Don't cause trouble here. I don't have the habit of calling the police to deal with things. Come kill me. It's better if you kill my whole family. Yu Tianjiao said, surname Su, you dare to do it but don't dare to admit it, right? My sister still talked about you like a big shot in front of me. Bah. You're just a coward who doesn't dare to admit it. Damn you. When Lin Ge heard this guy insulting Soo-Yun, he had already raised his arm and was ready to hit him. Soo-Yun finally spoke. You are Yu Jiaqian's younger brother? I thought President Su was so forgetful that you really didn't remember our Yu family. Yu Tianjiao was even more arrogant now. He pointed at the tip of his nose and said to Lin Ge, Come and hit me. Let's see if you regret it after hitting me. Lin Ge was stunned because he didn't know what happened in Yanjing, so he didn't know anything about the Yu family. Brother, do you really know this guy? Soo-Yun shook his head. I don't know him, but I know his sister. It doesn't matter if you don't know me. As long as you still recognize my sister, then this matter can't run away. Yu Tianjiao said. You have also seen my mother. I don't know what your relationship with my sister is, but based on their attitudes, I feel that I'm your future brother-in-law, a distinguished guest. Why? Shouldn't you pour a glass of water for your brother-in-law? Suyin didn't have time to argue with him now. Kid, I know your sister, and I have also seen your mother. But it doesn't mean that I will be polite to you. I am warning you for the last time. If you talk nonsense again, I will teach you a lesson on behalf of your sister. Oh, you haven't married my sister yet, and you are already threatening your brother-in-law? Yu Tianjiao was still full of nonsense. Suyin suddenly hooked his leg and directly flipped Yu Tianjiao to the ground. Yu Tianjiao's small body really didn't have any coordination. His head smashed into the ground. If he had a close contact with the floor, he probably wouldn't have many teeth left in his mouth. At the critical moment, Suyin still grabbed the back of his neck, so that he wouldn't really fall on his face. Yu Tianjiao was shocked with a cold sweat. This time, he was sure that Suyun's skill was really not a bluff. His mouth finally became honest. You can still remember my sister, which means that you still have a little conscience. Humph, don't think that I am afraid of you. Today, I came to you to reason. But this kid was stubborn and still didn't give in. Suyin asked seriously. Did something happen in your family again? How are your mother and sister now? You still have a conscience. Yu Tianjiao snorted and said, I tell you. If you say half a word of nonsense, I won't just scare you. Suyun's eyes were full of cold eyes, and Yu Tianjiao had a chill. Chapter 1474. Yu Tianjiao pulled a long face, as if Suyin owed him tens of millions. Okay, since we've already talked about it, then I won't beat around the bush with you. I'll just ask you one thing. All the misfortunes in my family were caused by you. Shouldn't you be responsible for my family? Before Suyin could speak, Lin Ge glared at him. That depends on what happened. Even if we owe you a favor, it's not up to us to be responsible for your murder and arson, right? No, we can't do things like murder and arson. I don't have the ability to do it even if I wanted to, Yu Tianjiao said. If I really had the ability, I wouldn't have come to you. I would have gone directly to the bastard who cheated my mother of her money and killed him. That would have saved me a lot of trouble. Suyin could tell that the Yu family was in trouble one after another. It seemed that the Yu family was in trouble one after another. Since Suyin returned from the bomb secret base on Pingding Mountain Island, he hadn't been to Yanjing, so he hadn't met Yu Jiaqian. However, Suyin believed that this didn't mean that Yu Jiaqian couldn't get news about him. Although the Yu family had provoked competitors, it was still the people they provoked that led to President Yu's death. It was impossible for them not to care about the Yu family's affairs, and Suyin was taken away by Yudikin to save Yu Jiaqian, so it was impossible for the Yu family to not care about Suyun's affairs. Since Suyun's accident, Yu Jiaqian had been asking the Dragon Brigade for news about Suyin. When she learned that Suyin had been rescued and was recuperating in Qingdao, she was completely relieved. As long as Suyin was fine, everything was fine. Ever since they learned that Suyin was safe and sound, Yu Jiaqian and her mother were very relieved. It was also at this time that something happened in the university that Yu Tianjiao studied at. The principal was dismissed and imprisoned because of his political stance, and many people in the university were labeled as rebels. With this chaos, it was naturally impossible for the school to continue in a normal order. All the international students returned home early for the holidays. Yu Tianjiao, who was tired of the outside world, naturally returned to Huaxia. Yu Tianjiao remained silent for 2 days about his father's death. During those 2 days, Yu Jiaqian told him about Suyin, and told him that she had gotten her revenge. His father could rest easy in Heavenly Kingdom. In the end, they didn't know whether Yu Tianjiao had accepted this reality or not. Nothing could be seen from his face. He asked his mother for $1 million, and his mother gave it to him out of consideration for the child's depression. In the end, Yu Tianjiao bought a 2-door Wrangler that very day. To be honest, he didn't lack cars. Before Yu Tianjiao left, he had always doted on him. However, when he bought another car, no one said anything about it. Yu Jiaqian only warned him not to race. After all, a few $100,000 was nothing in the eyes of the Yu Corporation. For the next 2 weeks, Yu Tianjiao spent all his effort on this car. He spent almost all of the remaining few $100,000 on modifying the car's off-road performance. That's right, Yu Tianjiao was using this method to vent his longing for his father. Mother Yu and Yu Jiaqian knew very well that their father had always been an off-road enthusiast. It was just that his status had caused him to lose the opportunity to pursue his hobby. Only their family members knew that he would not miss the off-road rally every year. He would sponsor and watch the live broadcast. Yu Tianjiao had also liked to play with cars since he was young. This hobby had been well cultivated by his father. Although Yu Tianjiao had now studied abroad and majored in medicine, with Yu Tianjiao's character, medicine was simply playing the lute to a cow. He was not interested in studying at all, so he skipped classes almost every day. He skipped classes and went to the most famous car modification factory in Europe. There, he was willing to work as a car washing handyman for only €8 a day. He really didn't care about money. He spent hundreds of euros buying coffee for those masters every day, but he was willing to do so. He learned too many things that he was interested in. When he returned to Huaxia, he used all that he had learned on this car. With this car, he felt that his father was with him. During this period of time, Yu Tianjiao had heard his mother and sister talk about how good Su Yun was. This made him very curious about Su Yun. Later on, he heard that Su Yun's identity was not simple. Not only did he have a special identity, but he was also the big boss of a popular entertainment company in Huaxia. This made Yu Tianjiao have a rather good impression of Su Yun. However, after so long, this person that his mother and sister were talking about had never visited them in Beijing. This made Yu Tianjiao feel quite unhappy. However, he could understand that everyone was very busy, so they didn't have any dislike for Su Yun. Until one day, when Mother Yu was cheated of all the liquidity of the Yu Corporation, and the hundreds of millions of savings that their family had accumulated over the years, things changed. A swindler, with his eloquent mouth, said that he wanted to invest in energy recovery power systems, and then described the reality of energy exhaustion in the world in a rather appalling way, and boasted all sorts of wild and imaginative ideas about energy recovery power systems, infinitely exaggerating the market by hundreds of times. This made Mother Yu very tempted. The energy problem would indeed be a very important and acute problem that the Earth would face in the future. The more advanced society's technology was, the more serious the energy depletion would be. It wasn't a groundless fear that in 100 years, or even less than 100 years, the world might face a serious disaster due to the depletion of energy resources. Therefore, Mother Yu felt that investing in this project would not only bring about huge returns and high profits, but it would also bring hope to the people in the future, and prevent their descendants from perishing in this world, due to the depletion of energy resources. It was because of this that Mother Yu was cheated into losing everything. When Yu Jiaqian found out about this and reported it to the police, it was already over. The swindler had already taken the money to some corner of the world. This unforeseen event caused the Yu family to suffer a considerable loss. The Yu Corporation was also in a precarious situation. If they wanted to get the Yu Corporation back on the right track, they would have to sell off a large portion of their shares, and let people with the ability and capital inject funds to revive the Yu Corporation. Otherwise, the Yu Corporation could only face the path of bankruptcy. However, once they sold off a large portion of their shares, the Yu Corporation might no longer belong to the Yu Corporation in the future. Because of this matter, Mother Yu wanted to commit suicide many times. If Yu Jiaqian hadn't stopped her, she would have died long ago. Regarding this matter, Yu Jiaqian shouldered it all on her own. Faced with the sudden collapse of the sky, she didn't avoid it at all. Instead, she resolutely shouldered it. Yu Jiaqian was very calm in the face of everything that had happened. She said that there was no need to analyze this matter at all. If they didn't do something, the Yu Corporation would collapse in front of their eyes. If they sold off their shares, they could at least ensure that the Yu Corporation continued to operate normally. When she had the money and opportunity in the future, she would think of a way to recover the shares bit by bit. In the end, the Yu Corporation would still be in their hands. However, Yu Jiaqian could deceive herself, but she couldn't deceive her mother and brother. There were no fools in this world. How could they spit out someone who could take over the Yu Corporation? Of course not. Once the Yu Corporation's shares were sold off, there was no way to get them back. Unless the company collapsed, there was no way to recover them. Even the ignorant and incompetent Yu Tianjiao knew this. The whole family rejected Yu Jiaqian's decision, but other than this, there was no other way. Yu Tianjiao suddenly thought of Su Yun. If it weren't for Su Yun and the rest, his father wouldn't have died and this wouldn't have happened. So Yu Tianjiao blamed everything on Su Yun, left a note, and drove to Qingdao in the middle of the night. Chapter 1475. After hearing Yu Tianjiao's words, Su Yun realized the seriousness of the matter. He did not expect Auntie Yu's moment of folly to push the Yu Corporation into such a desperate situation. Yu Jiaqian must be in a very uncomfortable situation now. On one hand, she could not bear to let go of the Yu Corporation. This was her father's life's work. Now that her father had left them, this was the only thing she could rely on and protect. However, this unforeseen event was unavoidable. No matter how much she wanted to protect the things, she still had to pay the price. These things were unavoidable. No one could turn back time. Yu Jiaqian had to pay for her mother's mistake. Although this was a huge price to pay, there was no hurdle that one could not overcome. She believed that she could bear it, and that as long as she persevered, she would be able to regain everything that she had lost one day. However, after making all the decisions, Yu Jiaqian woke up early in the morning and saw a note left by her brother on the dining table. The familiar handwriting entered her eyes, and the content made Yu Jiaqian unable to remain calm. This was too ridiculous. What exactly was that bastard Yu Tianjiao thinking? Originally, Su Yun had helped them catch the enemy who killed their father, and even used his life in exchange for hers. This was already something that the Yu family could not repay. Now that the family was in trouble, that little bastard Yu Tianjiao actually said that Su Yun had to bear the responsibility, and that they could not let him off so easily. What a preposterous guy. How could he do such a ridiculous thing? She really wondered if he had eaten all these years for nothing. How could he not understand such a simple logic? Jiaqian, what's wrong? Mother Yu's mental state had been very bad recently. She knew that she was the one who had put her children in such a desperate situation. This kind of accusation made her want to leave this world many times. However, every time she thought about it, if she could not see her two children happy in her lifetime, she would not even have the face to see their father. This was perhaps the only motivation for Mother Yu to persevere and live on. Now that she saw the gloomy look on her daughter's face, how could her mother not feel heartache? It was a form of mental torture. Tianjiao, he actually went to Qingdao. Yu Jiaqian handed the note over helplessly. Mother Yu took the note, and was dumbfounded when she read it. This child was really muddle-headed. They couldn't repay Su Yun's kindness to their family. This child actually said that he wanted Su Yun to be responsible for their family's current situation. What a stupid kid, a brainless stupid kid. If he really caused trouble for Su Yun, how could they face Su Yun? They wouldn't be able to face him for the rest of their lives. Sigh, this child. How long has he been gone? Hurry and chase after him. Maybe we can still make it in time. Even if he had to go bankrupt, he was going to take over 35% of the Yu Corporation's shares in one go. This way, the Yu Corporation would have to listen to him. Yu Jiaqian knew very well what these people were thinking. However, since things had come to this, she had no choice but to fulfill their wishes. Uncle Shi, the Yu Corporation will be in your hands in the future. Yu Jiaqian said humbly. Haha, of course. Your father and I worked hard to build the Yu Corporation. Now that you have handed it over to me, you can rest assured. Shi Tianyu said proudly. Very quickly, the meeting room was filled with all the shareholders of the Yu Corporation. All the shares had been settled, and they were waiting for Yu Jiaqian to sign it. As long as Yu Jiaqian signed it, everyone would be able to transfer their funds into the Tianyu Corporation according to the agreement. This way, the Tianyu Corporation would be saved and the shares would belong to everyone who had invested in it. Yu Jiaqian picked up the fountain pen and looked at the document for the last time. Her fingers were trembling, and she had even forgotten how to write her name. Su Yun, who was far away in Qingdao, had also asked Yu Tianjiao to explain everything to him in detail. After he understood everything, Su Yun also knew why this fellow was so anxious. Once the shares were sold, the Yu Corporation would be gone. Yu Tianjiao said impatiently. Tell me, are you going to interfere in this matter or not? In any case, you guys were involved in my family's difficulties in the first place. You have to interfere in this matter whether you want to or not. Did your sister say when she would sell the shares? Su Yan asked seriously. Today. After Yu Tianjiao finished speaking, he looked at the time and said, she should be settling the contract now. Damn it, why didn't you say so earlier? Su Yan suddenly roared. Yu Tianjiao was so shocked that he almost squatted on the ground. Su Yan grabbed Yu Tianjiao's collar and said, call your sister immediately. Tell her that no matter how many shares it is, no matter how much it costs, even if she wants me to pay double the price, I will buy it. However, she will not be allowed to sell it to anyone else. Yu Tianjiao's face instantly bloomed with joy. This was indeed the man that his sister had taken a liking to. He was really loyal. What are you laughing about? Call her. Su Yan said. If the contract is signed, I will really feed you to the fish. Call. Yu Tianjiao fumbled for his cell phone and quickly dialed Yu Jiaqian's number. Chapter 1476. Everything that was supposed to happen would eventually happen. Yu Jiaqian seriously signed her name on the document in front of her. This represented the decision of the Yu family. Once this decision was signed, it meant that everything would come into effect. Once it came into effect, she would have to withdraw from the company forever. In order to protect the Yu Corporation, Yu Jiaqian had to withdraw from the company. This sounded ridiculous, but it was the truth. Yu Jiaqian signed her name seriously. This meant that the fate of the Yu Corporation was in the hands of this man called Shi Tianyu. It had nothing to do with her anymore. Shi Tianyu watched with his own eyes as Yu Jiaqian signed her name at the signature. When the last stroke of the word Qian fell, the huge rock suspended in Shi Tianyu's heart finally fell. It was over. His dreams had come true. Shi Tianyu held the document in his hands agitatedly. This document would come into effect 24 hours after they completed the capital injection. He was already preparing the money and would be able to prepare it by this time tomorrow. This also meant that the Yu Corporation would belong to him 48 hours later. Everyone can see that Jiaqian sincerely wants to save the Yu Corporation. Shi Tianyu continued, since everyone here is her uncles, you should also show some sincerity. How about this? I will say something. Before noon tomorrow, we will hold a shareholders meeting again. Everyone whose name is on the name list and who wants to inject capital, please prepare the money. If you still don't have enough money by tomorrow, then I, Shi Tianyu, will take care of everything. Humph, who wouldn't fork out money for such a good thing? Even if they had to fork out the money, they would still be able to do so. Everyone in the room was unhappy with the small amount of capital they had invested and the small number of shares they could get. None of them would complain about having too much. It was all because of Shi Tianyu, who had the right to speak first, that he had the right to occupy more than half of the shares. The remaining shares could only be divided equally according to their current situation. This was a fat piece of meat. Shi Tianyu wasn't the only one who knew about it. All the shareholders of the Yu Corporation knew about it. If it weren't for the fact that he was concerned about the status of these small shareholders, he would definitely have dared to be greedy. Uncle Shi, sorry for the trouble. Yu Jiaqian stood up with a heavy heart. She wanted to let this matter pass and move on. Shi Tianyu laughed heartily. No trouble at all. You can rest assured. I will definitely make the Yu Corporation better and better. I will definitely not disappoint Brother Yu. 3 years later, Shi Tianyu would turn the Yu Corporation into his Shi Empire. Now he wanted to make use of the Yu Corporation's reputation to rapidly increase his reputation. He believed that with his capabilities he would be able to let everyone in Beijing know that the Yu Corporation was no longer under the control of the Yu family. At night, Shi Tianyu prepared a celebratory feast. Everyone knew what his purpose was. He tried to invite Yu Jiaqian, but Yu Jiaqian calmly refused. After leaving Sky Entertainment, Yu Jiaqian sat in the car and allowed herself to recover for a long time. Only then did her originally pounding heart slowly calm down. Everything was over. Yu Jiaqian's mouth revealed a bitter smile. This was the bitterness that one should bear in life. Someone once said that only through the most difficult perseverance could one enjoy the longest happiness. Yu Jiaqin believed that she could persevere and bear all the burdens. At this moment, her phone rang. When she saw that it was Yu Tianjiao calling, she quickly picked it up and questioned. Tianjiao, what are you doing at Guqin Island? Come back immediately. Do you know that your mother and I will be very worried about you? Sister, I have traveled extensively since I was a child. On this earth, other than the North and South Poles and Mount Everest, where have I not been to? Yu Tianjiao was a typical boastful boy. It's just a small Guqin Island. What are you worried about? Are you worried that I will cause trouble for you? Yu Tianjiao, don't be so cheeky. I'm talking to you about something serious. You must not disturb Su Yun's life. Yu Jiaqin's tone was firm. The Yu family is indebted to him. You can't bite the hand that feeds you and accuse him of everything. Yu Tianjiao shrugged his shoulders. All right, I knew you would say that. Sister, don't scold me. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here to ask for help. You come back quickly. Don't disturb him, okay? Yu Jiaqin said. Don't continue before you do something stupid. Sister, but I have already seen my brother Su Yun. He is drinking tea in his office. Yu Tianjiao smiled. At this time he felt quite good about Su Yun. We have a good chat. Yu Jiaqin's head swelled when she heard this. This stinky guy really doesn't let me have peace of mind at all. Su Yun impatiently glared at Yu Tianjiao. This was a warning to him. He had clearly said that he shouldn't let him speak nonsense. Sister, I really didn't cause any trouble. That Brother Yin has something to talk to you. Yu Tianjiao put the phone on speaker and made a gesture to Su Yun. Su Yun didn't think much of it and went straight to the point. Yu Jiaqin, your brother has already told me about the matter. I will help you solve the problem of the lack of funds. However, you can't use the shares of the Yu Corporation. You should know this better than anyone else. Yu Tianjiao nodded his head vigorously at the side, as if his sister could read his body language. Yu Jiaqin was already very touched to hear Su Yun's words. However, how could she be shameless enough to let Su Yun invest more than 1 billion yuan? This was not a small sum, and it wasn't something that anyone could take out easily. Even if Su Yun could help her, it would definitely affect the normal operations of the Tianyu Corporation. Are you listening to me? Su Yun said. Don't do anything stupid that you will regret. Thank you, Su Yun. Yu Jiaqin finally spoke. However, I have already signed the documents. Before noon tomorrow, the other shareholders will invest the funds and the shares will naturally belong to them. Su Yun, I still want to thank you, but I have already decided on this matter. You are muddle-headed. Su Yun said angrily. Yu Tianjiao was also stunned. Sister, you are not lying to me, right? You signed it. I signed it. Yu Jiaqin said calmly. The documents have already been handed over to Shi Tianyu for safekeeping. This matter is already in the past. Don't talk about it anymore. No. Yu Tianjiao was also anxious. Sister, don't you know what Shi Tianyu is thinking? We can't just give him a chance like this. Brother Yin can help us, but we can't just hand over the Yu Corporation like this. Yu Jiaqin was also angry. What's the point of not handing it over? What else can we do? Tell me, are we going to declare bankruptcy? Even if you find Su Yun, so what? There are so many loopholes in the company's finances. It's not something that can be easily solved. Su Yun knew that the two of them were not calm at the moment. He signaled Lin Ge to persuade Yu Tianjiao. He picked up the phone and said to Yu Jiaqin, don't worry. If you treat me as a friend, then believe me. There must be a solution. How about this? I will take your brother back now. With me around, you can rest assured. Su Yun, this matter is not as simple as it seems. I know you are being kind. Yu Jiaqin really did not want to implicate Su Yun. This is not a problem that can be solved with a sum of money. Su Yun smiled slightly. I know that money is not everything. However, there are some things that cannot be done without money. If a sum of money cannot solve a problem, then 2 sums of money can solve it. There will always be a time when it can be solved. Don't underestimate Sky Entertainment. A good movie can make more than 1 billion at the box office. Yu Jiaqian was so moved that tears were already rolling down her cheeks. Don't think too much about this matter. We will set off from Qingdao immediately. If you really want to thank me, then prepare 2 of my signature dishes. Su Yun looked at the time. We will definitely be able to make it for dinner. Su Yun had already said so much. What else could Yu Jiaqian say? She could only hold back her tears and nod. Okay, I will wait for you. Chapter 1477. While Su Yun was in charge, Wan Qingshuang went home to accompany her parents for a few days. Even if he called her now, she wouldn't be able to come back in time. Therefore, Su Yun didn't say anything. He directly contacted Bai Xiaoye and asked her to help him for 2 days. He also asked her to arrange for someone to guard the hotel. Bai Xiaoye agreed without hesitation. She didn't ask what was going on. She knew her brother very well. He wasn't someone who could sit still. If he wanted to do something, even if you tied him up, he would find a way to escape and do what he wanted to do. Instead of asking and persuading him, it was better to let him go. As expected of his biological sister, she understood Su Yun's thoughts the best. Su Yun didn't need to say any polite words like thanks. He directly left with Yu Tianjiao. Lin Ge had to go with them. Fang Ye's matter had already been settled. The only thing that made things difficult for him was that he had to bring Fang Ye over. Fortunately, Fang Ye was considerate. She knew that Lin Ge and Su Yun had urgent matters to attend to in Beijing. Not only was she not angry, but she also comforted Lin Ge and told him not to be distracted. She just had to wait for him to come back. Fang Ye didn't trust Lin Ge, but she trusted Su Yun. With Su Yun around, Lin Ge would definitely be taken care of. Moreover, Lin Ge was Su Yun's right-hand man. Fang Ye knew very well that Su Yun needed him. How could she monopolize Lin Ge at this time? Su Yun apologized to Fang Ye. At this time, Yu Tianjiao couldn't wait to get the car. The security guards who carried his Wrangler out saw this and wanted to stop him. Yu Tianjiao was full of confidence this time. He pointed at Su Yun with a fierce look. Su Yun nodded and motioned for the security guards to make way for him and let him drive the car. He and Lin Ge also went to get the car and prepared to follow Yu Tianjiao to Beijing. The few security guards looked at each other. Could it be that this kid really had some background and connections? Their CEO Su was someone who didn't even give face to the emperor. Today he actually gave face to this kid. This kid's connections were really strong. The security guards didn't dare to put on airs in front of Yu Tianjiao and immediately stepped aside. Did you see that? Did you see that? Yours truly had already said that you guys had better not offend yours truly. Today, I'm a magnanimous man. If not for the fact that I'm busy right now, I would have really argued with you guys. Yu Tianjiao's face was so high that it could almost touch the heavens. Seeing his smug look, the security guards really wanted to teach him a lesson, but the head of the security force knew in his heart. After all, this kid came out behind Chairman Su. And Chairman Su didn't give him any face. No matter what identity he had, at least the security guards couldn't afford to offend him. The head of the security force pulled his subordinates behind him. All of you go back and do what you're supposed to do. Oh, the captain has good eyesight. Yu Tianjiao laughed. No wonder you're the captain. Look at me clearly. Maybe I'm your boss's future brother-in-law. Do you understand? The head of the security force suddenly understood and took a deep breath. No wonder they were so arrogant. It turned out that Director Su had a relationship outside. TSK Director Su was young and rich. He was also very capable. It was hard for him not to be a playboy. Yu Tianjiao, if you talk nonsense again, I'll sew it up for you. Su Yun looked back and glared at him. Look at me clearly. Even if I break your legs, your sister and your mother won't blame me. Do you believe me? Yes, I believe. I won't say any more. Yu Tianjiao hurried to get the car. The head of the security force immediately closed his mouth. This was the boss's business. When he should pretend that he didn't know anything, he had to pretend that he didn't know anything. Don't listen to rumors. Talk less and do more. Su Yun gave him a warning and got into the car. The 2 cars left under the gaze of the security force. Fang Ye had just arrived here and didn't know any friends. She had to drive to find Bai Xiaoye. Bai Xiaoye was probably the person she was most familiar with on Qingdao. At this time, Bai Xiaoye called her and said that she had just received a call from Lin Ge. She asked her to wait here, and she would come over immediately. Although Lin Ge had left, Fang Ye still felt warm in her heart. The two cars drove north. Yu Tianjiao sped up all the way. They finally arrived in Yanjing before the sky turned completely dark. Yu Jiaqian didn't miss the appointment. She had prepared dinner and was waiting for them with her mother. The two villas of the Yu family had been sold. Now they were living in a 3-bedroom apartment of less than 150 square meters. Although this was not a small house for ordinary people, it was too small for the Yu family. Especially Yu Tianjiao. He was quite dissatisfied with living in such a small place. In the past, his entertainment room was bigger than this entire house. He could play billiards, karaoke, drink, and even have a sauna. But now, Sai, let's not talk about it. It will only make me cry. Auntie Yu, are you okay? After Su Yin arrived, he didn't go straight to the point. Instead, he asked with concern for Mother Yu. Mother Yu likes Su Yin. This child was too sensible. Su Yin, you're finally here. Sai, my body is fine, but my heart. It's empty. It's all my fault that such a big thing happened. I'm really old and muddle-headed. Auntie Yu, please don't say that. Su Yin. The tricks of these scammers are really hard to guard against. They use people's kindness to do things. Don't take it to heart. I'll take care of this matter. Yu Jiaqian's gratitude to Su Yin was self-evident. However, this matter really couldn't be left to Su Yin. Su Yin, I've already taken care of the matter. Thank you for your kindness. Didn't you say that it hasn't taken effect yet? Su Yin, as long as you get the document back, everything can be renegotiated, right? Yu Jiaqian was stunned. But, no buts. Su Yin interrupted her. I didn't come all the way here from Guqin Island just to taste your and auntie's cooking. I'm definitely going to take care of this matter. Just like Yu Tianjiao said, if it weren't for the matter with me, perhaps the innocent uncle you wouldn't have. Su Yin, this isn't your fault. Yu Jiaqian interrupted Su Yin. Tianjiao is talking nonsense. Don't listen to him. He's always like this. He doesn't think before he speaks. Su Yin. If he doesn't think before speaking, perhaps it's more like what he's thinking. Yu Tianjiao was now full of admiration for Su Yin. He even changed the way he addressed him. Brother-in-law, I admire you for this matter. Man. Can't you shut the door with that mouth of yours? Yu Jiaqian glared fiercely at Yu Tianjiao. However, Mother Yu was very satisfied with her son's way of addressing her. Yu Tianjiao stuck out his tongue and didn't say anything else. Anyway, he had already expressed his thoughts. As for future matters, he wouldn't be able to help. Su Yin wasn't bothered. Who did you give the document to? Shi Tianyu. Yu Jiaqian said. He's the vice president of the Yu Corporation. However, in the future perhaps. Yu Tianjiao had an idea again. Brother Yin. Why don't I bring you to his office when there's no one around? He wouldn't leave such an important document in his office. He would definitely bring it home with him and place it in the safest place. Su Yin. If it were me, I wouldn't want to let such a thing slip away. I would definitely be extremely careful. Yu Tianjiao nodded his head. Brother Yin, do you mean that we should go to his house directly? Catch him off guard? Can you stop adding fuel to the fire? Yu Jiaqian pulled her brother to the side and said to Su Yin seriously. Su Yin, I admit that I don't want to do this either. However, I've already signed the document. If you use violence to snatch it back, it will be considered a crime. You can't break the law knowingly. I definitely can't. Su Yin nodded his head repeatedly. However, if he returns it to me voluntarily, it won't be considered a violation of the law, right? Yes, that definitely won't be counted. Yu Tianjiao refused to give up. Yu Jiaqian frowned. What exactly do you want? Su Yin smiled. Come, let's eat. I'm hungry. What I do is my business. You guys don't have to worry about it. Chapter 1478. This was definitely the most comfortable meal Yu Tianjiao had in the past few days. He was quite satisfied with his wise decision. Ever since Su Yun entered his family, his mother's face had always been smiling. Although his sister was still putting on airs, he was her biological brother. He knew better than anyone whether his sister was happy or not. Finally, after dinner, no matter how Yu Jiaqin tried to persuade him, she couldn't stop Su Yun from making up his mind. Yu Tianjiao was anxious several times. He invited Su Yun over from afar just to help. Who knew if his sister's brain was flooded with water? She kept saying that she didn't need his help. Fortunately, Su Yun's attitude was firm enough that Yu Jiaqin didn't waver in the end. Although Yu Jiaqin kept saying that, her heart was also rekindled with hope. Anyway, Yu Jiaqin wouldn't cooperate with him. Su Yun didn't stay in the Yu family for too long, and left with Yu Tianjiao. Yu Tianjiao was absolutely overjoyed. He didn't expect that he would be of use. He was definitely the pride of the Yu family. Why are you bringing him along? He's a one-track mind. He doesn't think about the consequences. Yu Jiaqin didn't have much confidence in this pride of the Yu family. She looked at Su Yun and tried to persuade him to give up this wrong decision. Yu Tianjiao pulled a long face. Sister, I'm your biological brother. Am I so unreliable in your eyes? You've done everything carelessly since you were young. Of course I'm worried. Yu Jiaqin was telling the truth. She wasn't trying to discourage him. If you can do something wholeheartedly and seriously, even if you don't do it perfectly, I can rest assured and let you go with Su Yun. But Yu Tianjiao's face darkened. He really didn't do anything perfectly, right? It was just a matter of a few minutes of heat. Once this heat passed, everything would be wasted. He does. Su Yun suddenly said, didn't he modify the car himself? Yes. Yu Jiaqin and Mother Yu were stunned. That's quite wholehearted and serious. Su Yun. At least I feel that the modified car is the most awesome Wrangler I have ever seen in Huaxia. Su Yun's words touched the hearts of the members of the Yu family. Yu Tianjiao had done this for his father, so he had poured his heart and soul into it. That was why this car was able to catch Su Yun's eye. It was also why this car was so shocking. My father is an off-road modification enthusiast, but he never had the chance to realize his dream. Yu Jiaqin lowered her head and said faintly, I know. My brother did his best to change it for him. Su Yun nodded. Then all the more reason for me to bring him to help me. He won't spare any effort to help his family. Of course, Yu Tianjiao said. If I can't protect the Yu Corporation, I'm not fit to be a man of the Yu family. Brother Yin, I went to Qingdao to beg you not because I'm thick-skinned, but because I can't bear to see the Yu Corporation. Just give it away to someone else. I know that I'm not as capable as my sister, but no matter what, I'm still the only man of the Yu family. If I don't step up, no one else will. What a man. Well said. Regardless of whether this matter succeeds or not, I still have to do it. Even if Brother Yin didn't help me this time, I would still look for Shi Tianyu if I knew that my sister had signed the document. Yu Tianjiao said seriously. Even if he doesn't return it to me, I have to let him know that not all the men of the Yu family are dead. How dare he bully the Yu family? I'll remember this. Yu Jiaqin was about to question this fellow if he was crazy, but Su Yun agreed with him. If you're a man, you have to think and do this. Let's go. Today, I'll take you to get back what belongs to you. Okay. Yu Tianjiao answered firmly. You guys. Yu Jiaqin didn't say the words, you guys are fooling around. She saw the determination and persistence in Su Yun and her brother's eyes. They weren't joking. If they said they would do it, then they would do it. Be careful on the road, Yu Jiaqin said. Mother Yu knew that she couldn't stop them. She said to Lin Gu, who was standing beside Su Yun. Please take care of the two of them. Don't worry, Auntie, Lin Gu smiled and said. There's nothing that my brother can't do. You guys don't have to worry about this. Just wait for our good news at home. The three of them left the Yu family and got into Yu Tianjiao's car. Yu Tianjiao was quite familiar with Shi Tianyu's house, and remembered the properties that Shi Tianyu frequented. Yu Tianjiao, I have a question for you, Su Yun asked in the car. Has the Yu Corporation ever faced any financial problems in the past? What did the shareholders do? Yes, they did. Yu Tianjiao said, Brother, in the past my father was around. With just a word from him, They would all invest money. That's because everyone knows that the U Corporation is capable. The money invested will definitely not be lost. Su Yun nodded his head and asked, then why didn't anyone ask for shares in the past? They wouldn't dare. Yu Tianjiao started to show off again. Those who aren't willing to invest can get lost. My father can get money anywhere. He'll take back all their shares in a fit of anger. Let's see where they go to cry. Su Yun understood now. In that case, it can't be said that it was their investment this time. My father is gone, so they said that they had no money to invest, Yu Tianjiao said. Then they had money after your sister used her shares in exchange for the investment? Su Yun understood the little trick. There's something fishy about this. Of course there's something fishy, Yu Tianjiao said. Those old bastards have their eyes on the U Corporation, especially that Shi Tianyu. I suspect that he has spies around my sister and mother. After my mother was cheated, this old fox found out about our lack of money even before we announced it to the public. I suspect that it's my mother's chauffeur. After he finished speaking, Yu Tianjiao scratched his head again. But Uncle Zhang has been my family's chauffeur for more years than I am. He's not that kind of person. This old fox has too many tricks up his sleeve. It's impossible to guard against them. I really don't know where he got the news from. Su Yun was stunned. Why didn't you say this earlier? What's wrong, brother? Yu Tianjiao didn't understand what Su Yun meant. Then there's a problem. Su Yun frowned. I'm afraid that things aren't that simple. Maybe there's a bigger conspiracy behind this. Although Yu Tianjiao didn't understand, he also realized that things weren't that simple after Su Yun said this. While he was pondering, Yu Tianjiao saw that Shi Tianyu's car was parked at the entrance of a hotel on the left side of the road. The chauffeur opened the car door, and Shi Tianyu got out of the car and straightened his suit before walking into the hotel. Shi Tianyu. Yu Tianjiao didn't hesitate and wanted to make a U-turn at the junction in front. He didn't care about the sign that forbade U-turns, but the steering wheel was pulled back by Su Yun. Yu Tianjiao pointed at the hotel in shock. Brother, I saw Shi Tianyu. You can't break the rules. Su Yun said. You've already seen him. Are you still afraid that he'll evaporate? It's fine as long as you know that he's at the hotel. Make a U-turn at the junction in front. Don't be so rash. You have to take one step at a time, and you have to eat one bite at a time. Things have to be done bit by bit. Yu Tianjiao resisted his impulse and nodded. Brother Yun's words were so reasonable. I'm afraid he's not here to eat at this time. Su Yun said. Pigeon, go check out the situation first. Lin Ge nodded. After Yu Tianjiao parked the car, Lin Ge got out of the car and entered the hotel. Although Yu Tianjiao was also anxious to go, Su Yun didn't say anything. He braced himself and sat in the seat, waiting for Lin Ge to come back and give him the news. About 10 minutes later, Lin Ge came back. Room 1509. He's talking with a fatty inside. That fatty really looks like Xian Guijin Pang Pang. What? Yu Tianjiao's eyes widened when he heard this. He looks like Xian Guijin Pang Pang? Chapter 1479. Lin Ge frowned and said, Yeah. Why do you have such a big reaction? Are you a fan of Fatty Jean? Is there a need to? Brother Yin. Something's not right. Shi Tianyu and the guy who looks like Fatty Jean met. Yu Tianjiao looked very astonished and did not look too good. Conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. I say, brother, you can be considered as someone who has been through the south, north and north train tracks. Lin Ge said. You don't have to be so useless, do you? She just looks like Fatty Jean, not Xiaolongnu. Is there a need to be so agitated? Even if she has a celebrity face, there's no need to be so agitated, right? How could Yu Tianjiao be so agitated just because of a celebrity face? Given his status as the young master of the U Corporation a month ago, it would be a piece of cake for him to hire a few celebrities to perform for him at his house. 3 years ago, there were A-listers in the country who came to support his father on his 50th birthday. My mother told me that she would definitely recognize the person who cheated her when she sees him again. That person looks like Fatty Jean from Xian Nation. It's as if they were cast from the same mold. Yu Tianjiao said. I have a deep impression of this sentence because I went to Xian Nation last year and saw that the streets and alleys of their country were filled with posters of Fatty Jean. The only thing missing was the instant noodle box that he personally endorsed as the #1. Su Yin had felt that there was something fishy about this matter right from the start. Although there was an old saying that blessings do not come in pairs and misfortunes do not come singly, God was not so wicked as to let a person have bad luck one after another. Misfortunes do not come singly. Usually, when a person is down on his luck, some vicious and merciless people will take advantage of this opportunity to add insult to injury and trick the originally unlucky person again. Just like the movie Darling, which was adapted from a true story, the person whose child was abducted was already very pitiful. After releasing an advertisement for a child with a high price, there would be a group of heartless swindlers who would use this to deceive him. Perhaps this was something that kind people could never understand. Why were those damned swindlers so heartless? Why didn't those damned swindlers fall into the latrine and choke to death? If not for the humanity of the law, Su Yin would not have let the swindlers off the hook the most. This was because the most hateful thing about swindlers was that they would take advantage of the weakest part of people's hearts and ruthlessly stab them there. Wasn't this kind of person even more hateful than those bullies? Fatty Jean has power, so he can do whatever he wants. It's a show of confidence that he's willing to endorse his products. Even the cosmetic sellers in China can endorse their products, so why can't Fatty Jean, the leader of the country, endorse his products? Lin Ge said. Su Yin glanced at Lin Ge and motioned for him to listen to the main point. The main point now was not whether Jean Pang's face was suitable to be his spokesperson, but rather, what was the relationship between Shi Tianyu and Jean Pang? Was this person who looked like Jean Pang and the person who tricked Mama Yu into looking like Jean Pang were the same person? Pigeon, we'll split up later. Keep in touch, Su Yin said. I'll leave this to you. And brother, don't worry. Lin Ge nodded. Today he was going to meet this Fatty Jean. About half an hour later, Shi Tianyu finally came out of the hotel and got in the car to leave. Su Yin and Lin Ge exchanged glances. Lin Ge directly got out of the car and entered the hotel again. Su Yin and Yu Tianjiao followed closely behind Shi Tianyu's car. Lin Ge went straight to the room after entering the hotel. When he came to the door and was about to knock, the person in the room had already packed up and was about to leave. Oh my God, who are you? Why are you standing in front of someone's room in the middle of the night? Did you see the wrong room number? Fatty Jean was shocked by Lin Ge when he opened the door. His little heart was beating fast. What's wrong? Hua Xia is scaring people to death. Xiao Jin ha. Hello Xiao Jin. Long time no see. Lin Ge didn't care about him and pushed him into the room. The fake Fatty Jean was a little anxious. Who the F***ck are you? What do you mean? My surname isn't Jean. You've got the wrong person. Move away. I have an urgent matter. Don't be like that. You look like Xianguo's Fatty Jean. How can your surname not be Jean? Lin Ge hooked the door with his heel and closed it. Your urgent matter now is to explain something to me. Everything else isn't important. Kid, what do you mean? Are you looking for a beating? The fake Fatty Jean was a little anxious and raised his arm to attack. Lin Ge casually waved his hand and directly blocked the fake Fatty Jean's fat fist. When he retracted his hand, his big elbow, accidentally, landed on Fatty Jean's cheek. The big head felt dizzy and fell onto the sofa with Fatty Jean's weight of close to 150 kilograms. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose, Lin Ge said apologetically. This time, the fake Fatty Jean was completely agitated. He jumped up from the sofa and pounced on Lin Ge like a bear with the weight of Mount Tai. Lin Ge didn't dodge. If you're going to do this, I'm going to play for real. As he spoke, Lin Ge had already made his move. He directly grabbed Fatty Jean, who was pouncing on him. Although the weight of close to 150 kilograms was shocking, it was like a big rubber ball in Lin Ji's hands. Without waiting for Fatty Jean to beg for mercy, Lin Ge fiercely threw the rubber ball in his hands at the wall. With a loud bang, Fatty Jean was like a pile of mud. He fell to the ground and didn't get up for a long time. How is it, Xiao Jean? Do you want to continue? Lin Ge clapped his hands and sat on the sofa. He calmly poured himself a glass of water. Can you sit down and have a good talk with me now? The fake Fatty Jin's organs were all messed up from the fall. He panted heavily and didn't recover for a long time. Lin Ge wasn't in a hurry. He drank the water and slowly waited for him to speak. After all, no one would be able to withstand such a fall. Although Fatty Jin was full of fat, his body of fat really couldn't withstand such a fall. Fatty Jin rested for about 3 to 5 minutes before he struggled to get up. He looked at Lin Ge in fear. Until now, he still couldn't believe that this kid could lift him up and throw him out. One must know that his weight had exceeded 320 kilograms. He knew it very well. Even if he threw a bag of 50 kilograms of rice, an ordinary person would be tired enough. Big brother, you really found the wrong person. I'm really not CEO Jin. Fatty Jin said with a bitter expression. Did you see my house number? I'm just a farmer from the countryside. Please don't make it difficult for me. Lin Ge nodded. Oh, a farmer? I know a few, but I really don't know anyone who eats so much like you. You eat so much, what can you do? Also, you said that you're not CEO Jin. Then what's with your energy recovery project? Shouldn't you explain it to me? Hearing about the energy recovery project, Fatty Jin was dumbfounded. He didn't say anything else and wanted to escape. In the end, he was trampled by Lin Ge like a horse trampling on a swallow. No, a horse trampling on a fat pig. CEO Jin, you still want to run? You don't have to. Lin Ge said. Explain it to me clearly and we'll be fine. You won't have to suffer any more physical pain. Big brother, please spare me. I'm just a worker. Fatty Jin hugged his head and begged for mercy. I really know my mistake. Give me a chance, big brother. I won't dare to do it again. Lin Ge took out his phone and turned on the recording. Say it. Explain your energy recovery project to me clearly, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, if I throw you down from this floor, you'll definitely become a pile of minced meat. Fatty Jin looked up at Lin Ge. He didn't believe that he would do that. Lin Ge didn't say anything else and opened the window. Without waiting for Fatty Jin to react, he lifted him up by the waist and walked to the window like the wind. When the cold wind blew, Fatty Jin's tears almost fell out. He was very confident in his weight. If this young man couldn't hold him, he would be doomed eternally. I'll talk. I am my mother. Big brother. I beg you to put me down first. Chapter 1480. Translator. Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. After the cold wind blew through the window, the knockoff Fatty Jin did not dare to make a fuss anymore. He felt that he had shouted loudly enough just now, but no one had noticed that he was being bullied in room 1509. This was the 15th floor. Fatty Jin definitely did not dare to joke around with his life. Although murder was against the law, he did not know the other party at all. If it was a rash person, then it would be bad. If the other party suddenly attacked and caught him off guard, then he would not even have a place to cry. Brother, I have always been timid since I was young. Please don't scare me. Jin Pang sat on the ground, panting heavily. We have no enmity between us in the past and in the past. I beg you to forgive me whenever possible. Lin Ge turned off the recording on his phone. I don't have the time to record your nonsense. Fatty looked carefully. My phone only has 1 bar of battery left. If I don't hear you spit out that you have swindled Madam Yu of the U Corporation, I guarantee that you will end up worse than this ashtray if I throw you downstairs. The ashtray on the coffee table was clean and transparent. Lin Ge held it in his hand and suddenly exerted force, shattering the thick and hard glass onto the floor. In order to make Fatty Jin understand the situation and stop talking nonsense, Lin Ge crushed another piece of glass into powder. Looking at the scary guy in front of him, Fatty Jin knew that he had met a powerful person. He was done for today. Shi Tianyu had just arrived and transferred 20 million yuan to his card. He had asked him to get lost forever, leave Beijing and Huaxia, and never show his face again. Now that he had been caught red-handed, the 20 million yuan was not enough to keep it warm. Then he would not be able to keep it. Compared to money, Fatty Jin clearly knew that his life was more important. As long as he was alive, there was no need to worry about firewood. It was better to live a bad life than to die a good death. This was a principle that even idiots who lived in places where the sunlight of socialism could not reach, such as scavengers and beggars, understood. Brother, I will tell you everything. I will tell you everything. Fatty Jean was terrified. Lin Ge turned on the recording on his phone again. Fatty Jean slowly opened his mouth with a bitter expression. Brother, you can see that I was ordered by someone. I was forced. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the guts to do that. Who ordered you? Who forced you? Tell me clearly. Lin Ge reminded him. Fatty Jean nodded. It was Shi Tianyu. Shi Tianyu ordered me to do this. He was the one who planned all the scams. How would a pig like me know what energy recovery is? He was the one who wrote the information and asked me to memorize it to deceive Madame Yu. After a pause, Fatty Jean continued. If I did not do it, he said that I would not be able to make a living in Beijing. I have an 80-year-old mother and a crying child. Stall for time as much as you can. My phone's low battery notification light has already lit up. Lin Ge sneered. Fatty Jin's face changed. Brother, I want to earn money to support the family. But Shi Tianyu said that I would not be able to make a living in Beijing. I had no choice but to agree. He said that I looked honest and didn't look like a scammer. Also, my figure had the style of a boss. So he insisted that I do it. What benefits did he give you? Lin Ge said, think carefully. This recording cannot be changed. 20 million. Fatty Jean said bitterly. It was given to me a few minutes ago. I didn't touch it at all. You can chase the money back. I will cooperate with you. You are a great person and forgive me. Can you spare my dog life? Let me go? Lin Ge smiled faintly. With your words, your dog life can be considered saved. However, I can't let you go. You are the witness who can prove that Shi Tianyu was the mastermind behind the scam. Don't even think about escaping. Brother, you can't do this. You have to let me go. Fatty Jin's face fell. You really can't do this. Shi Tianyu is too powerful. If he knew that I said this to you today, he would definitely find someone to kill me. Just take pity on me. Don't drag me down. Suddenly, there was a sound of footsteps outside the door, followed by messy knocks on the door. Fatty Jin's eyes rolled, and he quickly rushed to the door. This person, once forced, would easily break through his limit. That fat body could actually run at such a speed. It really shocked Lin Ge. However, as soon as Fatty Jean opened the door, before he could even shout for help, a few young men pressed down on his mouth and head and beat him back. The young men were still cursing and swearing. Lin Ge glanced at them. These young men were none other than Fu Tian and his gang. Without needing them to explain, Lin Ge could guess that it must be Brother Yun who called them to help him deal with the aftermath. Brother Pigeon. Fu Tian chuckled. Brother Yun called me and asked me to come here to help you deal with the fatty. If you need anything after this, just tell me. I'll arrange it. Lin Ge smiled. He already had the recording evidence. After he controlled the witness, he just needed to find the evidence. Thank you. In a while, help me find a place to detain this person. What you're doing is illegal detention. Fatty Jean said in horror. So what if I'm illegally detaining you? Fu Tian raised his hand and slapped Fatty Jin's head. What are you looking at? You're not convinced? If you're not convinced, then try it with your Grandpa Tian. Let's see if your Grandpa Tian can cripple you. Fatty Jean suddenly recognized Fu Tian. His face was filled with fear. Aya, it's young Master Tian. I didn't recognize Mount Tai, and didn't recognize young Master Tian. Young Master Tian, do you know me? I saw you when you sang at the Eastern Grand Assembly. I even gave you a bottle of wine. Give your sister a bottle. Fu Tian didn't buy it. He raised his hand and slapped Fatty Jean again. Don't try to claim kinship with me. Today you're my grandson. If you offend my brother Yin, Grandpa will still beat you up. Fatty Jean felt bitter in his heart. It turned out that a loser would never be able to climb up to a tall, rich, and handsome man. Even if he had contributed, he wouldn't remember it in his heart. Then he would use his story to warn those who liked to be lackeys. It was useless to treat a tall, rich, and handsome man like a father. He might not even like you. Mr. Jean, tell me. Shi Tianyu gave you the information. Give it to me. Today we're even. If you don't find it for me, I don't need to do anything. I'm afraid my brothers won't let you have a good time. Jean Pang fearfully looked at the group and said, Brothers, give your brother a way out. I'll give you anything you want, but you can't let me go. You have to let me go. If Shi Tianyu finds out that I betrayed him, I'll definitely die. Jean Pang said. Brother Pigeon, could it be that Shi Tianyu has something to do with Auntie Yu being cheated? Fu Tian had also heard about Yu Jiaqian's difficulties and the fact that the Yu Corporation was about to change hands. He didn't expect that there was such a big mystery behind this matter. Lin Ge waved his phone and said, The evidence is all here. This fatty is the one who used some bullsh** T energy recovery system to scam Auntie Yu. Damn. Why didn't you say so earlier, brother? Fu Tian spat. Brothers, you all know that Auntie Yu has always treated me well. Yu Jiaqian and I have been classmates for a few years. Furthermore, the relationship between Sister Qian and Brother Yin is also. Ahem, I won't say anything else. Brothers, do as you see fit. Kill him. The few of them suddenly swarmed forward. Fatty Jean, who had originally suffered a little in front of Lin Ge, was now in a terrible state. His nose was bruised and his face was swollen. His face was already swollen, and it looked as if 2 extra eggs had been stuffed into his cheeks. Fatty Jean wanted to cry. Why was he so unlucky? He shouldn't have done such a heinous thing. If he did, he wouldn't have a good karma. However, this karma came too quickly. Brother Pigeon, tell Brother Yin that I'll bring this fatty to the dog cage. I'll hand him over whenever he wants him, Fu Tian said. If he doesn't want him anymore, I'll keep him as a dog for the rest of his life. Lin Ge laughed coldly. Unless he stands up and exposes Shi Tianyu as a witness. Otherwise, you can keep him for the rest of his life. It's okay, there's no burden. Whatever my dogs eat, I'll feed him. He'll have meat for every meal. He won't starve to death. Fu Tian said smugly. However, there are requirements for him to eat well. Even if he doesn't know how to wag his tail, he still needs to know how to lick his shoes. Fatty Jean wanted to cry, but had no tears. Brothers, I'll listen to everything you say. Is this okay? If you had said this earlier, you wouldn't have had to suffer like this. Lin Ge said and spread his hands. Give me the scam information that Shi Tianyu gave you. Fatty Jean didn't dare to refuse anything now. Chapter 1481. On the other side, Su Yin and Yu Tianjiao followed Shi Tianyu's car all the way to his house. Shi Tianyu instructed the chauffeur in the car. The chauffeur nodded his head and got out of the car to open the door for him. Shi Tianyu got out of the car, straightened his clothes and headed home. The chauffeur sped off. Everyone in the Yu Corporation knows that this fellow has a nickname, Colorless Unhappiness. I didn't expect him to come home today and not spend the night with his mistress. Yu Tianjiao was rather surprised. He had been to Shi Tianyu's house before and knew that this was his official house, where his legal wife lived. Shi Tianyu's unhappiness couldn't be blamed on him. His wife weighed more than 250 kilograms and had a rosacea nose that left an unforgettable impression. It was no wonder that Shi Tianyu didn't want to go home. However, he had no choice. His legal wife was his legal wife. Furthermore, Shi Tianyu did not dare to offend her. He was only where he was today because of the support from his wife's family. Otherwise, he would not have the status he had now. Shi Tianyu was a man who flew out of a mountain village. His parents were old farmers who lived in the ravines, and he was the same. However, he was ambitious. Ever since he was 18 years old and met a few backpackers who were considered trendy in that era, his heart had flown out of the mountains and yearned for a better life in the big city. At the age of 18, he had heard from a few backpackers about karaoke, cabarets, and all sorts of other things that were popular in that era. It was said that a dog would not despise a poor family, and a son would not despise his mother for being ugly. However, Shi Tianyu didn't think so. He was quite disgusted with his impoverished family. He hated this kind of life. He hated working in the mountains every day and not being able to earn enough to fill his stomach. On the night before the backpackers were about to leave in their old jeep, He secretly curled up in the trunk of the car and hid among the backpacker's luggage. Just like that, Shi Tianyu left his hometown forever. Furthermore, he had not returned even once after he left. He had long forgotten about his old father who faced the yellow soil with his back facing the sky. He had also long forgotten about his mother who had painstakingly raised him into an adult. They should have left this world long ago, but Shi Tianyu didn't even have the thought of sending them off, because in the year he left, he treated himself as a new person. He changed his name from Shi Goyao to Shi Tianyu, which meant that he was a person blessed by the heavens, and this name was also quite Western back then. After following the backpacker's car all the way to Yanjing, Shi Tianyu took advantage of the night to sweep away all the valuables in their luggage and slipped away with the money and the items. After selling those things and adding the money he stole, Shi Tianyu, whose net worth was over 1,000, could be said to be a very rich person in that era. At that time, the whole family was living on 200 yuan a month, and they could eat meat for every meal. However, Shi Tianyu didn't have the concept of money. He was afraid of starving in the mountain village, so it took him less than a week to spend all the money he had. In order to make a living, he was coincidentally recruited by a big hotel to be a waiter. As a waiter, he could get 5 yuan for opening a bottle of wine for those rich people. But later, Shi Tianyu learned that 5 yuan was a fart. Even if he had 1,000 yuan in his pocket at that time, it was also a fart. Rich people ordered a bottle of wine for more than that price. That table of dishes was filled with Australian lobsters, American crabs, European ham, and African delicacies. Relying on the days of being a waiter, Shi Tianyu accumulated another 1,000 yuan of his own. He didn't spend this money indiscriminately, because he had seen many rich people and heard many stories, so he had a lot of thoughts. He learned to make up stories. He relied on fabricating a story that his father was an Arctic explorer, and his mother was an Arctic scientist to raise his status. Later on, he got to know his wife, a young lady who looked like a meatball. To be honest, Shi Tianyu didn't like her, but her family was rich and powerful, so she could give him what he didn't have. His wife also admired him for being the child of an explorer and a scientist. Shi Tianyu made up a story that his parents had died in the iceberg crash, and he had become an orphan. His parents had spent their entire lives doing research and did not leave him anything, which was why he came to Beijing to drift around. His wife gave up at that time and wanted to marry no one else but him. Shi Tianyu's father-in-law and mother-in-law didn't have a choice. Although they didn't like this person who had nothing, their daughter's looks weren't something they could find a good family with. Just like that, Shi Tianyu married his wife, and his father-in-law gave him 100,000 yuan to start his business. He was lucky enough to meet President Yu at that time, and under President Yu's lead, he invested in the Yu Corporation. Then, the 100,000 yuan in his hand became 200,000 yuan a year later, and 1 million yuan 5 years later. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed, and the initial 100,000 yuan had become a 100 million yuan asset. However, all of this was given by his wife's family, so Shi Tianyu couldn't lift his head in front of his wife's family. The most important reason was that the Yu Corporation wasn't his, so he didn't have the backbone. If the Yu Corporation was his, he would definitely be able to hold his head high. Today he returned home to tell his wife that he, Shi Tianyu, would hold his head high and be a man in the future. He wouldn't lower his head in front of her family anymore. He would look for women openly in the future, who would dare to do anything to him. He was already in the top position. In the future, he would be the #1 big shot in Beijing. Who wouldn't dare to give him face? Not even the king of heaven. Pour the tea. Shi Tianyu sat on the sofa and said coldly, pour the tea. After being married for so many years, his wife had already heard about his real identity, so she didn't care about his bad habits at all. Pour it yourself if you want to drink it. You're crazy. I've been married for so many years, but you haven't poured me a single cup of tea. Your father hasn't been nice to me either. Shi Tianyu said indifferently. But let me tell you, everything will be different from tomorrow onwards. After tomorrow, I'll be the biggest shareholder of the Yu Corporation. I'll hold 55% of the Yu Corporation's shares. His wife was a little confused when she heard this. This news came too suddenly, because Shi Tianyu had never communicated with her about this. Really? The tigress's brandy nose twitched. Are you drunk? Are you daydreaming again? It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Shi Tianyu said. I'm just informing you that from tomorrow onwards, no one should give me a hard time. I'm no longer working for others, and I'll be doing my own business in the future. Ask your parents to show me some respect. Otherwise, don't blame me for being heartless. The tigress was a little surprised and subconsciously poured a cup of tea for him. Tianyu, is that true? You'll be in the top position one day. President, you just died not long ago. How did you do it? What methods did you use? That's not something you should know about. Shi Tianyu said proudly. I remember telling you on the night of our wedding that I'll be able to straighten my back one day. I don't blame you for not being able to give birth to a child. Your family doesn't allow me to find another woman to give birth to a child, and I'll bear with it. However, I must have my own son in the future. Knock, knock, knock. The knocking on the door interrupted the tigress, who was about to fly into a rage. Shi Tianyu's wife glared at him fiercely and shouted impatiently, Who is it? President Shi, something big has happened. Yu Tianjiao said in a strange tone. Hurry and open the door. Shi Tianyu frowned. He knew that it was unrealistic to ask his wife to open the door, so he got up and walked to the door himself. He was a little dumbfounded when he opened the door. Yu Tianjiao appeared in front of him as if he had descended from the sky and pushed him into the room. Su Yin followed closely behind and closed the door. Tianjiao? Why are you here? Shi Tianyu looked at Yu Tianjiao in surprise. Yu Tianjiao glared at Shi Tianyu unhappily. Surname Shi. Don't F** king act all high and mighty in front of me. You know best what kind of thing you are. How many years have you been eyeing my family? Ha! You got it today, didn't you? Ha! Chapter 1482. Shi Tianyu did not intend to be courteous when he saw how arrogant this young man was. Coincidentally, his wife did not believe that he could take over the Yu Corporation. Now he could prove it. Even the future successor of the Yu Corporation had come to his house to make a fuss. What else could be more convincing than this to prove the existence of this matter? Tianjiao, you can't implicate me in this matter. Shi Tianyu said. I didn't want to do this. The reason why the Yu Corporation is in this state is because your mother was too gullible. She has to take responsibility for her mistakes. Don't say such high-sounding words. Yu Tianjiao said. My father has always treated you well. Now that my family is in trouble, so what if you take the lead and help us? Why did you force my sister to give you the shares? Do you know that this is called adding insult to injury? My father has raised an ingrate all these years. Shi Tianyu glared at him and said, Tianjiao, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. I won't bicker with you because of your father's face. You should pay more attention to your words and actions. Otherwise, I'll chase you out. Yu Tianjiao was used to being arrogant since he was young and did not care about this. Oh, are you afraid? Shi Tianyu, are you feeling guilty and want to chase me out? You dare to do it but don't dare to admit it? Why wouldn't I dare to admit it? Go home and ask your sister if she was the one who personally signed the document to give the Yu Corporation shares to the other shareholders. We will think of a way to get the money to invest. Shi Tianyu said, Young man, it's hard to earn money. I can't take out 1 billion yuan for no reason. Do you think that money falls from the sky? I want to take a loan, sell my bonds, throw away my funds, and give up on managing my finances. I have to waste a lot of energy and assets to be able to take out this money. Yu Tianjiao felt that he was in the wrong. This matter was not easy to clear up. If I don't get the shares, why should I help the Yu family? Yu Tianjiao asked. Your father cared a lot about me back then. That's why I put all my money on the Yu Corporation. Otherwise, I would have taken the lead and withdrawn my shares. The Yu Corporation would have closed down immediately. Your sister begged me to take back the shares. I'm not the one begging you. Shi Tianyu's self-righteous appearance really did seem to be the case. His words left Yu Tianjiao speechless. Surname Shi. Yu Tianjiao was at a loss for words. He could only turn his gaze to Soo-yun. Soo-yun smiled faintly. He had already received Lin Ji's message. Lin Ge had told him everything he knew. Soo-yun had a trump card in his hand, so he naturally had a card up his sleeve. Shi Tianyu, who was the person you met in the hotel room? Faced with this strange yet familiar young man's question, Shi Tianyu was stunned. He really didn't know how to answer. Who are you? You should answer my question first, Soo-yun said indifferently. At this point, Shi Tianyu's wife finally couldn't take it anymore. She was indeed shocked by the fact that Shi Tianyu would take over the U Corporation. Now that she heard that Shi Tianyu had met someone in the hotel room, the first thing that came to her mind was that Shi Tianyu had said that he wanted to have a child with her. What else could he have done in the hotel room other than doing those shameful things? Shi Tianyu, you damned old bastard. You've just straightened your back and you're already fooling around with another woman. Shi Tianyu's wife was really valiant. She wanted to hit Shi Tianyu. Shi Tianyu angrily rebuked. Enough. Don't King go on and on. Don't embarrass me. Get out of the room. Shi Tianyu's wife felt her heart sink to the bottom when she saw that her husband, who had always been submissive in front of her, had suddenly become so fierce. Aya, you're wrong. Your man didn't just straighten his back and start fooling around with another woman. Yu Tianjiao was adding fuel to the fire. He wasn't afraid that the matter would blow up, but he was afraid that it wouldn't blow up. He's been fooling around with other women, and it's not just one of them. Even I, who don't go to the company often, know that his nickname is Colorless Unhappiness. At least half of the 20 over female demons in the company's public relations department have an affair with him. If you continue to spout nonsense, I'll sue you for slander. Even though Shi Tianyu had straightened his back, he didn't want to be in the wrong in front of his wife. I went to the hotel to meet a client just now. It's a man. Yu Tianjiao wasn't afraid of blowing up the matter. Who knows if you have fresh sex photos on your phone? Give me your phone. Shi Tianyu's wife suddenly shouted angrily. I'll King say it again. Don't butt in on men's affairs. Get out of my way. Shi Tianyu was really frustrated by Yu Tianjiao. His wife was beside him, and there was no end to it. Furthermore, that familiar-looking young man didn't say much, but his words hit the nail on the head. Shi Tianyu was afraid. This was a huge fraud. If he was caught red-handed, his life would be completely over. Shi Tianyu, what's your relationship with that fatty? Soo-yun said lightly. You said you went to meet a friend, or a man. Then I'm not wrong, right? What? What fatty? Shi Tianyu's face became even more nervous. He would never admit it. He would rather admit that he went to fool around with women than admit that he met with the fatty. This was related to his life. Shi Tianyu was anxious and incoherent. Okay, I admit it. I went to fool around with women, but so what? I'm a normal man. You stand in my position and think about it. With such a woman at home, wouldn't you go outside to have an affair? You say you won't because you don't have the charm and ability. Okay, Shi Tianyu, you shameless old man. Shi Tianyu's wife was anxious. I want to divorce you. Shi Tianyu wasn't an idiot. The money he used to start his business was given by his wife's family. Years ago, under the coercion of his father-in-law, he signed a contract. He agreed to take his father-in-law's money and in the future, 80% of his net worth would belong to his wife. If they divorced, then even if he got Sky Entertainment, he would have nothing. Don't make trouble. I'll explain it to you later. Shi Tianyu's heart was in a mess. What the hell was going on? He had just gotten such a good thing. And now the world was in chaos. Phew. Shi Tianyu took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He told himself over and over again that when the heavens gave a great responsibility to a great man, it would first make his will suffer, his muscles and bones tired, his body starved, his body was empty, and his actions were disrupted. Therefore, he had to endure and do what he couldn't. I'm warning you. I just went to meet a client. If you want to slander me and ruin my family's relationship, I'll sue you. I'll call the police now. Shi Tianyu believed that the police could solve the problem. At most, he would have to fork out some money. Soo-yun laughed coldly. You dare to call the police, but I'm afraid that Fatty doesn't want to see the police, right? Shi Tianyu, fraud is a serious crime. Do you know the law? I believe that with your status, even if you don't know the law, you should know a thing or two. Shi Tianyu's forehead was sweating. For fraud, if the amount involved is especially huge or if there are other especially serious circumstances, the punishment is not less than 10 years of imprisonment or life imprisonment. In addition, the punishment is a fine or confiscation of property. Su Yan continued. I'm not talented, but I know a thing or two about the law. More than 500,000 is considered especially serious, and the punishment is at least 10 years. You're implicating the U Corporation. I'm not sure how much money you have, but I'm sure that once you're convicted, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. You're spouting nonsense. Shi Tianyu's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed his saliva. Su Yan smiled and said, It's not too late to attend the banquet now. Shi Tianyu, you're also a veteran of the U Corporation. No matter how big your mistake is, we can forgive you. Give us the document that Yu Jiaqin signed for you, and we won't pursue this matter. Chapter 1483. Shi Tianyu's eyes widened when he heard this. This was something that he had painstakingly obtained. How could anyone take it back just because they wanted it? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This was a document that would affect his status for the rest of his life. This document would mean that the U Corporation would be under the Shi name from now on. If you guys are crazy, then go to the mental hospital. I'm not crazy. Shi Tianyu said. The police are very particular about evidence when arresting a thief. Don't spout nonsense if you don't have any evidence. As for that document, don't even dream of getting it. That is the most important piece of evidence that I own the U Corporation. You and I both know it. Shi Tianyu had been in Yanjing for so many years, so he was well aware of the principle that money makes the world go round. There were indeed many things in this world that money couldn't buy, such as family, love, or health. However, most things could be settled with money. As long as he was willing to fork out the money, scams were nothing and no evidence could be established. Why should Shi Tianyu compromise? He would never compromise. Tomorrow he would bring the document to a lawyer and officially invest in the U Corporation. Then, as the president of the U Corporation, would he care about the money from connections? Are you going to give it to me or not? Yu Tianjiao was furious. He kicked the shoe cabinet in front of him and said, Old man, if it weren't for my dad, I would have beaten you up long ago. I will count to 3 and you will take out the document signed by my sister. Otherwise, I won't hold back anymore. It's useless even if you count to 10. Shi Tianyu wasn't afraid of the threat of a kid who hadn't even grown up. He was a child from the mountains. Other than working with brute force, the only things he did before he was 18 years old were fighting with his friends. You are still too inexperienced to touch me. Although there wasn't much skill involved, Shi Tianyu's body had been trained since he was young. Even though he had been drinking and socializing every night for so many years, he still didn't have a fatty liver. I will touch you today. Yu Tianjiao was like a newborn calf that wasn't afraid of a tiger. He raised his fist without a second word. However, his weak and frail body was no match for Shi Tianyu. Shi Tianyu might be old, but he dodged Yu Tianjiao's fist and kneed him in the stomach. The insufferably arrogant Yu Tianjiao clutched his stomach and squatted on the ground. It hurts. His thin and brittle abdominal muscles couldn't withstand such a knee strike. It wasn't until now that Yu Tianjiao realized how useless he was. He didn't even have the ability to resist. What was the point of fighting? Yu Tianjiao endured the pain in his stomach and stood up. He made up his mind that after settling this matter, he would continue to rub his body with coarse salt. In the movie, it was said that this martial arts master's ancient training method was to use coarse salt to grind his body until it was red and bloody every day. Only then could his body become rough and durable. He could take a beating. Shi Tianyu looked at this piece of trash with disdain. Are you still coming or not? Just now, I only used 30% of my strength on account of your father's face. Bang! Before Shi Tianyu could finish his words, he felt as if his chest had been hit by a huge rock. His whole body didn't feel good. He flew out horizontally. The force of the explosion seemed to have dislocated all his internal organs. What a powerful force. Su Yun's punch came without warning. He didn't expect Yu Tianjiao to be his fighter. The document may be in his small bag. Go and find it yourself. Okay. Yu Tianjiao was completely subdued by Su Yun's domineering punch. It was too ruthless. This punch was like a cannonball that could stun people. Don't touch my bag. Shi Tianyou's face changed dramatically. This document must not be taken away. It was signed by Yu Jiaqian herself. There was no backup. If it was destroyed, Yu Jiaqian would deny it tomorrow, and everything would be in vain. Su Yun silently stood in front of Shi Tianyu. Your opponent is me. If you want to fight, come at me. You're the most flexible boss I've ever seen. If you have some skills, why don't you use them? Get out of my way. The anxious Shi Tianyu flew into a rage. He grabbed Su Yun's shoulders with both hands, and wanted to throw Su Yun out by wrestling him. But Su Yun took a horse stance. With a firm foundation, he locked Shi Tianyou's arms and hooked his feet. Shi Tianyou's whole body was thrown out by Su Yun. With a crash, Shi Tianyou's back landed on the ground. Even if his body was hard, he was still a man in his 40s or 50s. After being thrown, he couldn't stand up at all. In times of crisis, his wife was close to him. Even if Shi Tianyou's wife was full of disgust for her man, she still didn't hold back and rushed to the small bag. Put that bag down. 200 to 300 pounds of weight flew over. Yu Tianjiao's whole body sank into the shadow. When he saw the huge body rushing over, he was shocked. He grabbed the bag and turned around to avoid it. Being knocked down by Shi Tianyu wouldn't die, but if he was pressed down by his wife, he might really die. Shi Tianyou's wife's huge body landed on the sofa. The sturdy sofa let out a cracking sound, and all four legs suddenly broke at the same time. The backbone of the sofa also broke in the middle with a crash. The huge sofa was completely destroyed by Shi Tianyou's wife. Yu Tianjiao's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Luckily, he had run quickly. Otherwise, wouldn't all the bones in his body have been broken? His spine wasn't as strong as the backbone of the sofa. Give me the document. Shi Tianyou's wife was really a shrew. She got up and continued to chase after him with no intention of giving up. Yu Tianjiao quickly found the document in his bag. After seeing his sister's signature, Yu Tianjiao's face lit up. Brother, I found it. Give it back to me. Although Shi Tianyou's wife was fat, she was agile enough to grab the document in Yu Tianjiao's hand. Yu Tianjiao was shocked. He had just found the document that concerned the fate of the Yu Corporation. How could he let it be snatched away? Of course, Shi Tianyou's wife wouldn't give up. It wasn't because she loved Shi Tianyu, but because she realized how big a sum of money this document was. If Shi Tianyu got the Yu Corporation and she divorced him, how many shares of the Yu Corporation would she get if he committed a crime? She wasn't good at math and didn't know how to calculate. However, she knew that this was definitely a sum of money that would allow her to find any gigolo and remarry him. Rip. The document was torn just like that, and the two of them split it in half. Destroy the signature. At the same time that Su Yun spoke to Yu Tianjiao, Shi Tianyu also shouted at his wife, protect the signature. Luckily, Yu Tianjiao was quick to react. He tore off his sister's signature and stuffed it into his mouth without hesitation. As long as he ate it, he wouldn't be able to find it even if his stomach was cut open. This matter was over just like that. Shi Tianyu almost collapsed onto the ground. However, his wife suddenly seemed to be possessed by a scion and hollered, I'll fight it out with you. Spit it out right now. A huge black shadow once again pressed down on Yu Tianjiao's head. If it pressed down on him, he would probably spit out his intestines, let alone the note that he had just swallowed. Yu Tianjiao held his breath and prepared himself for this heavy blow. He could only pray that he wouldn't be killed by this woman's but in a second. Cloud Hand. At the crucial moment, it was Su Yun who stepped forward bravely. With a move of Cloud Hands, Shi Tianyou's wife's 200 to 300 pounds of fat flew out just like that, directly landing on the already destroyed sofa. It's over. Everything is over. Shi Tianyu looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. Was this really just a dream? Shi Tianyu, you can't escape the fact that you committed fraud, Su Yun said indifferently. I have witnesses and material evidence. You just have to prepare for the court summons. Oh yes, don't waste your time looking for that fatty. He has already been taken away by my men. You won't be able to kill him, nor will you be able to find him. Shi Tianyu looked at the familiar stranger in front of him blankly, and laughed bitterly in his heart. Each new generation excels the previous one. The opportunity that he had been waiting for his entire life had been completely destroyed just like that. God, you've really opened your eyes. Chapter 1484. Shi Tianyu felt as if he had had a very, very long dream. In the dream, he had gotten everything he wanted, but before he could enjoy it, he was doused with a bucket of cold water from head to toe. His entire body was cold from head to toe, and he instantly woke up. Everything was gone. Everything was over. He was still the person who had nothing. He was still the person who had nothing. After everything was over, he would fall into hell. Even if he had everything now, he would no longer be able to keep it. Tianjiao, when you were so young, you liked to pester me to buy you toy guns and remote-controlled cars. Do you still remember? Shi Tianyu's whole body was cold. He was afraid. This fear made his legs go soft. The speed of his fall from heaven to hell was too fast. He couldn't bear it. He gestured to Yu Tianjiao's height when he was a child. He hoped that the kid in front of him would give him a way out on account of their old friendship, and not sue him for fraud. He knew very well what the serious consequences would be if he was charged with such a crime. This was not only related to more than 500,000 yuan, but it was also an extremely important reason. Businessmen paid attention to integrity. If he was convicted of fraud, even if the law didn't sentence him to life imprisonment, he would never be able to make a name for himself once he finished his sentence and returned to society with the label of a swindler. I remember. Yu Tianjiao didn't forget their old friendship. But you also listened to me. The past is the past. If you want me to remember the past, you shouldn't be so ruthless. Yu Tianjiao wasn't a fool. He already knew in his heart that Shi Tianyu was the mastermind behind his mother's fraud. He already gave him a lot of face by not beating him with a big stick. I know I was wrong, Tianjiao. Uncle really knows he was wrong. Uncle was just obsessed for a moment. Uncle won't dare to do it again. Shi Tianyu said. I beg you, give me a way out. Don't force me to die, okay? Don't say it so harshly. I didn't force you to die. You forced yourself to die. Why are you dragging me into this? Does it have anything to do with me? Yu Tianjiao wasn't so soft-hearted. I'll give you a way out for the sake of our old friendship. Tell me. Right now, Shi Tianyu was willing to let go of all his heirs. As long as he was given a chance to start over, he was willing to let go of anything. Su Yin was a little puzzled as to what this brat Yu Tianjiao could point out. However, he didn't expect that this brat's dog mouth would really spit out ivory. He actually said something that made Su Yin's jaw drop. You can go to the police station yourself. We won't bother you anymore. Yu Tianjiao said. If you turn yourself in, you might be able to get a lighter punishment. Of course, the premise is that you have to return all the money. When the time comes, we won't hold you accountable. My mother and sister are kind-hearted. You know that. When Shi Tianyu heard this, he knew that he had to go to the police station. He definitely wouldn't agree. No, I can't go. If I go, I won't be able to make a comeback. Yu Tianjiao said impatiently. I think it's too troublesome to call the police. That's why I'm giving you this opportunity. You don't want it, right? Okay, then you can just wait to be caught. As soon as you go out, I'll make a call. Anyway, the guy who looks like Fatty Jean has been caught by my brother Yun's people. As long as you dare to escape, you won't be able to get out in this life. Shi Tianyu didn't want to escape, but he didn't want to be caught either. Tianjiao, let's just pretend that nothing happened, okay? I'll kowtow to you. I beg you to give me a way out. If you take the initiative to admit your mistake, the law will give you a way out. Su Yin said faintly. But if you are stubborn, then I'm afraid it won't be easy. I don't mind the trouble. If you don't call to turn yourself in, I'll take you now and hand you over to the Public Security Bureau. Maybe I can even make a contribution and get a Good Citizen Award for bravery. You're ruthless. Shi Tianyu gritted his teeth and looked at Su Yin. Who are you? Su Yun raised his eyebrows. It doesn't make sense for you to know. If you have to ask, then I have nothing to hide. I've been helping people all my life. Those who have been helped by me all call me Lei Feng. Shi Tianyu lowered his head with all his might. The glory of his life, in the end, was all in the hands of this living pervert. Fraud is a felony. Shi Tianyu's wife also came back to her senses. No, you can't take him away. If he really can't get out in this life, then what should I do? He's my man. If you want money, I'll give you money. I'll give you however much you want. Is this okay? Don't catch him. It was said that husband and wife were birds in the same forest, but when disaster struck, they flew away separately. However, although Shi Tianyu and his wife didn't have a union of love, after being together for so many years, they had feelings and familial affection. Now that she saw that Shi Tianyu was really in big trouble, she really couldn't abandon him alone. Wife, with your words, I'm satisfied. After committing a grave mistake, Shi Tianyu suddenly realized that there was still true love in this world, and it was right beside him. I'll surrender myself, Su Yun said. If you have a better sense of self-awareness, you won't have to spend the rest of your life in jail. Perform well in there. Oh, he really admitted defeat. When Yu Tianjiao suddenly heard this, he really suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. I can admit defeat, Shi Tianyu said. I'll return all the money that I scammed. However, the problem that the Yu Corporation is facing now can't be solved with just this amount of money. We still need to inject capital, or else we won't be able to hold on. Ever since President Yu passed away, many conflicts in the Yu Corporation have intensified. Actually, it might not be a bad thing for me to stand up. Yu Tianjiao didn't know much about the company's matters, but he could feel that although his sister was capable, she didn't have the aura to lead the company. To put it bluntly, if she couldn't convince the masses, it would be meaningless no matter how capable she was. In the past, Yu Jiaqian's arrangements in the company had been smooth sailing because her father was backing her up. Now, although she had been doing her best to arrange everything in the company, the people under her weren't doing their best. Therefore, the Yu Corporation was becoming more and more unstable. It was difficult for external forces to destroy a large corporation that had been formed, but internal strife could easily cause it to collapse. The Yu Corporation was currently in a period of internal strife. If there wasn't someone capable enough to take charge of everything, the Yu Corporation would still be in danger. I did this to let the other shareholders of the Yu Corporation see my capability, and let them know that I'm not to be trifled with. They have to listen to me in the future. This way, the Yu Corporation can regain its footing. Shi Tianyu wasn't lying. I can pay the price for my mistake, but let me remind you that it's not as easy as you think if you want to keep the Yu Corporation. This amount of money is far from enough. You need more? Su Yun said plainly. You don't have to worry about this. Shi Tianyu, for you to say something like this, President Yu must have treated you well when he was alive. I won't make things difficult for you today, but don't blame me if you don't turn yourself in by noon tomorrow. Don't forget, I have witnesses and evidence in my hands. I have also recorded our conversation just now. You're on your own now. Shi Tianyu laughed bitterly and shook his head. He didn't say anything else. Forget it, forget it. He didn't want to say anything else. Brother Yin, do you really believe him? Are you going to leave just like that? Yu Tianjiao was a little worried. Let him be, Su Yin said. If he turns himself in, he still has a chance to be released. If he runs away, he can forget about seeing the light of day again. Don't forget what I do. Your father was harmed by the American Secret Service agents, but I still caught them. What about him? Shi Tianyu was suddenly enlightened. No wonder he looked so familiar. So this was the legendary powerful kid. Yu Tianjiao saw Su Yun's confident gaze and nodded seriously. There was no criminal in this world that couldn't be caught. As long as he wanted to catch him, he would definitely be able to bring him to justice. Chapter 1485. Yu Tianjiao followed Su Yun out of Shi Tianyu's house, but he still looked back worriedly. Brother Yin, do we really trust him? If he escapes in the middle of the night, there's still a chance for him to escape. If he's smart, he can just fly to the southern border and go to those poor countries where birds don't even shit. He can just find a criminal gang leader and give him some money, and those poor bastards will work for him until they die. If he has the guts, then let him go. Su-yin continued. As long as he dares to run, I dare to chase after him. Ever since I was born, I have never failed to catch up to anyone I want to chase. If Shi Tianyu is confident in his 2 short legs, then let him escape. Yu Tianjiao admired this confidence and aura from the bottom of his heart. It was no wonder that his older sister and mother kept saying good things about Su-yin ever since he returned to the country. Even Yu Tianjiao, who had never been convinced by anyone since he was young, was convinced by Su-yin after just one day of interaction. Don't worry, he won't escape, Su-yin said casually. People who can be as scheming and tolerant as him are all shrewd. He can clearly consider the price and success rate of his escape. The price is that he will never have the chance to make a comeback, and the success rate is so pitiful that it's not even 1%. If it were me, I would know when to yield and when to stand tall. I would admit to this and fight for a lenient sentence. Who knows, I might even have a chance to make a comeback after being locked up for 8 to 10 years. Yu Tianjia was stunned. He still has the idea of making a comeback and taking revenge on us? Brother Yin, since you can see through it, then we should just arrest him and send him to the police. Why should we give him a chance to surrender? If he doesn't surrender, then he won't have the chance to get a lenient sentence, right? Give him a chance. Everyone must have hope in life. If there's not even a little bit of hope, then it's better to die. Su-yin continued. After all, he has contributed to the Yu Corporation. Take it that you are doing him an old favor. You can't be too heartless. If there was no hope in life, then it was better to die. Everyone had hope in life. Hope could be a career, a lover, a child, or just being alive. But there was always hope. Even a homeless person with tattered clothes on the streets would have hope. Hope that he could pick up some fresh food from the trash can. Although it sounded sad and ridiculous, it was really a form of hope. This kind of hope could allow a person to live on and continue to wander and live. He would not die of the streets. Su-yin did not want to make things so complicated. This way he would not have to worry about it and would accumulate good karma. Shi Tianyu would hate the Yu family for the rest of his life. Brother Yin, what if this guy really performs well and is released in a few years? If he takes revenge on us, will you teach him a lesson? Yu Tianjia was trying to rope Su-yin in so that he would not interfere with his family's affairs in the future. Su-yin replied, if he really performs well and is released in advance, then it means that he has a high level of self-awareness. He will definitely understand that the Yu family is doing him a favor today. If he is enlightened and repents, why not give him a chance to turn over a new leaf? He is familiar with everything in the Yu Corporation. When the time comes, you can extend an olive branch to him, and he will be loyal to you for the rest of his life. The power of repaying evil with good is very strong. Yu Tianjiao nodded his head in confusion. It sounded quite reasonable. Repaying evil with good. Although he did not really understand this phrase, he could feel the profound meaning behind it. After Su-yin got into the car, he contacted Lin Ge and confirmed his current location. Then he asked Yu Tianjiao to go home first while he went to meet up with Lin Ge. It was not that Yu Tianjiao did not want to work with Su-yin, but what he wanted to do now was to immediately inform his mother and sister of this good news. Shi Tianyu had been executed. To them, this was the best news since their father's death. Su-yin arrived at a remote car repair shop where Lin Ge and the rest were. Fu Tian and the rest were there as well. Even though the environment of the car repair shop was not very good, the people who repaired cars were definitely more professional than those car repair shops that had better renovations. The owner of the car repair shop was also a young man. He took a deep puff of his cigarette. When he saw that Fu Tian and the rest were respectfully addressing Brother Yin, he also politely greeted, Brother Yin. After a pause, he introduced himself. Just call me Ayang. Su-yin saw that the counterfeit Jean Pang Pang was locked up in a van that was almost completely dismantled. He smiled at the young man in front of him and said, Thank you, brother. You're welcome. We're all on the same side. Ayang took out the Zongnanhai from his pocket and handed it to Su-yin. Su Yin was not polite. He took it and lit it. It was not that he was addicted to smoking, but he wanted to give face. Seeing that Su Yin lit the cigarette, Yang said, "Brother Yin, my pigeon brother said that you were with Yu Tianjiao. Why didn't you bring him with you? You know each other?" Su Yin was startled. "He went home first." Fu Tian explained. "It's more than just knowing each other. Yu Tianjiao and Yang are iron magnets." "Brother, now you can understand why Yu Tianjiao's Wrangler is so awesome." Lin Go also smiled. "It's not just his credit. There's also a technical guide." "Don't say that." "I did help him a little, but his concept and theory of car modification and bold ideas are definitely far beyond mine." Yang said. "I'm puzzled. Didn't he study medicine abroad? Why is he competing with car parts?" Yang said and looked at the oil stains on his collar and cuffs. "Repairing and modifying cars is really not suitable for a young master like him. You're his iron magnet." Su Yin smiled faintly. "People's interests have no identity. Even if he's a rich young master and you're poor, between brothers, if he does something wrong, such as connecting the wrong oil pipe and wiring, you can still use a big wrench to cut him." Yang was stunned for a moment. Then he raised his head and laughed. Yes, although that kid's theory was strong, his practice was weak. When he modified his Wrangler, once he made a mistake, he would use a wrench to scold him. For them, this was what brothers were like. Between brothers, some respected and admired each other, and some fought and scolded each other. People who respected each other said that those who scolded each other were not brothers, because they did not respect each other. And those who fought and scolded each other said that those who respected each other were not brothers, because brothers did not need so many restrictions. Su Yin said that they were all brothers. As long as their hearts were united and they worked together, they were brothers. There was no distinction between those who respected each other and those who scolded each other. It was just that their personalities were different. At this time, the knockoff Fatty Jean could not help but knock on the window of the sealed van. Yang stepped forward and opened the window. "What's wrong? Do you want to poop or pee again? Your stomach is so big, can't you hold in your poop and pee?" No, I just want to ask that brother. Brother, I'm here." Fatty Jean shouted and waved at Su Yin. Seeing Su Yin turn around, Fatty Jean looked at him with great expectation. "When are we going to report Shi Tianyu?" I want to leave here. I really can't stay here." "No need to report. Shi Tianyu will turn himself in tomorrow. At that time, you can do as you see fit." Su Yin said indifferently. "No matter what, you are still an accomplice. The punishment and responsibility that you should bear cannot be avoided. When the time comes, take the initiative and try not to be so harsh. Do you understand?" Fatty Jean was paralyzed. What was to come could never be avoided. It was a sin. For 20 million, he wanted to change his identity as a poor man, but he did not expect to go for wool and come home shorn. He became a swindler and had to pay a painful price to make up for his mistakes. Chapter 1486. If there's nothing else, I'll leave this fatty to you. Su Yin. Watch him turn himself in at the police station tomorrow. It's best if he and his master can be sentenced together. Maybe they can take care of each other if they're assigned to the same cell. He's so white and fat. If he doesn't have someone to protect him, he'll be crying in 3 days. With Shi Tianyu's body, although he couldn't dominate the prison, no one would be willing to provoke him if he showed his skills. Therefore, if Fatty Jean could follow Shi Tianyu, he would be able to suffer less. After all, it was Shi Tianyu who had caused him to fall to this point. Shi Tianyu wanted him to protect him as compensation. Hearing that his chrysanthemum was ruined, Fatty Jin's face was full of fear. Now, not only was his reputation lost, even his body couldn't be saved. He brought this upon himself. "Big brother, I betrayed Boss Shi. Do you think he'll let me off easily? He definitely won't, right?" Fatty Jean was really self-aware. "You guys are magnanimous. Just let me go like a fart. I'll even kneel down and kowtow to you. Don't worry. Shi Tianyu isn't stupid. If you guys really have the chance to be in the same cell, he'll definitely be happy to have a follower like you." If you have nothing to do, help him fetch water, wash his feet, rub his shoulders and knock his back. He won't treat you badly. Just treat it as losing weight. Soo-yeon looked at the fat on Fatty Jin's body. You're so young. Don't leave behind a body full of diseases. Fatty liver is not an easy disease to treat. Fatty Jin, reform well and strive to become a person of significance to the country. Big brother. Fatty Jin still didn't give up. He was really afraid of this. It's useless to call me big brother. Lin-ge glared at the fatty impatiently. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Now that you know regret, why did you do it earlier? Soo-yeon didn't waste any more words with them. He thanked Ah-young and Fu Tian again, and quickly left with Lin-ge. With these little brats watching over Fatty Jin, it would definitely be enough for him to suffer. Today, when she saw Fu Tian again, he was no longer the sloppy boy from before. He was dressed more maturely, in a suit and leather shoes. He believed that this kid was no longer as willful as before. Tonight he would treat it as a chance for him to relax. Once again he would do some outrageous things with his bad friends. Take it as a reward for them to embark on the right path. When Yu Tianjiao returned home, he told his family about this matter. Mother Yu and Yu Jiaqian were first shocked, then happy, then regretful, and then helpless. They were shocked that Shi Tianyu would actually do such a thing. The mastermind behind all of this was actually this person who had been with the Yu Corporation for over 20 years. Mother Yu was happy that the money could be recovered, and the huge stone in her heart had finally been removed. She was regretful that Shi Tianyu would go to jail. Even though he had done such a despicable thing, Yu Jiaqian still felt sorry for him. This was because she knew that Shi Tianyu had helped her father through many difficulties in the past. Of course, she was still helpless about this sum of money. Although the money had been recovered, the Yu Corporation's funding gap had widened during this period of time. If there wasn't enough money to make up for this huge gap, the Yu Corporation would still collapse. Many times, a corporation needed money in order to make money. This was Yu Jiaqian's biggest helplessness now. She still needed money. She had just made a fuss about dealing with the Yu Corporation's shares, so it was definitely impossible for her to get funds now. As for bank loans, it was even more impossible. Just when the family was at their wits' end, Soo-yeon and Lin-ge knocked on the door. There was no need for Yu Jiaqian to open her mouth. Soo-yeon could tell what she was thinking and what she needed from her face. How much more money does the Yu Corporation need? Soo-yeon smiled and said, Jiaqian, I heard that you specialize in venture capital. Do you think that it is worth it if I treat the Yu Corporation as a venture capital investment? Yu Jiaqian knew that Soo-yeon wanted to help her. Soo-yeon, you have already helped me enough. I really don't have anything to repay you. How can I still let you? Why don't you have anything to repay me? Yu Tianjiao said sarcastically. Can't you just repay me with your body? It's not a big deal. Yu Jiaqian turned around and gave Yu Tianjiao a kick, causing him to scurry around. However, she didn't stop talking nonsense and said, Sister, can't you let me speak? If I were a girl, I would definitely repay Brother Yin with my body. Is there a need to consider this? It's a matter of course. Mother Yu didn't pay attention to the children's nonsense because she was satisfied with Soo-yeon. If Yu Tianjiao had joked about his sister being with other men, as his mother, she would have been anxious. Brother Pigeon, don't you think so? Yu Tianjiao asked for help. If you were a girl, what would you do? Lin-ge was about to reply when he was stopped by Soo-yeon. Soo-yeon grabbed Yu Tianjiao and pushed him onto the sofa. I am talking to your sister about serious matters. Don't create trouble for me. Soo-yeon, I will think of another way about the capital injection. Yu Jiaqian said, I thank you on behalf of the entire family for everything that you have done for the Yu Corporation. Soo-yeon said, there are still uncertainties if you look for someone else to invest. The later this money is absorbed, the less help it will be to the Yu Corporation. Although I don't know how to do business or manage a large corporation, I still understand this logic. These words struck a chord in Yu Jiaqian's heart. No matter who it is, you should give them benefits if you ask them to invest. Soo-yeon continued. Che, you have the confidence and ability to make up for this loss. That's why you dared to look for someone to invest. Since this is the case, why don't you look for me? Just take it that I am doing a risky investment. You can give me whatever returns you can give others. Isn't this good? Let me take advantage of the U Corporation. Although Su Yun said that he was taking advantage of the U Corporation, he was actually helping the U Corporation in its hour of need and pulling it up at a critical juncture. He only said this to make it easier for Yu Jiaqian to accept. I won't say thank you. Yu Jiaqian understood that no words could express her gratitude. Since you are so determined to invest, I will give you a clear plan for the return of your investment. I will let you see clearly that in a risky investment, you have to understand everything clearly before you invest. This sum of money that Su Yun had invested into the U Corporation wasn't actually a risky investment. Yu Jiaqian, on the other hand, had represented the U Corporation in using this sum of money to invest in other projects. Yu Jiaqian already had a project in mind, but she did not have the funds to start it. Now that Su Yun had sincerely extended a helping hand to her, she had to tell Su Yun everything so that he would understand and know what to do. Logically speaking, such a secret should not be revealed to others. But now, Su Yun was no longer someone else in Yu Jiaqian's heart. To her, Su Yun was family, one of her own. She was someone she could trust without any reservations. All right, you have the final say, Su Yun said. He was not in the mood to care about these things. What investment plan? What profit plan? Looking at all these rules and regulations gave him a headache. Perhaps they were all like that. They were really not suited to look at accounts and plans. It was too annoying. The two of them went to Yu Jiaqian's room. Mother Yu pursed her lips and smiled. She did not disturb them and went straight to her own room. Only Lin Ge and Yu Tianjiao were left in the living room. Yu Tianjiao watched as his sister's room door closed. He stuck out his tongue and said to Lin Ge, "Look at how reserved my sister was just now. Didn't she invite a wolf into the house? Who are you calling a wolf?" Lin Ge laughed and scolded. "Can a wolf help you in your family?" Yu Tianjiao chuckled and said, "Look at my mouth, I don't know how to describe it. Brother Yin is definitely not a wolf. Brother Yin must be a good person, a very good person. I can't wait for my sister to marry him. Haha, I really think that the two of them are quite compatible. Brother Pigeon, what do you think? Say that to your sister. See if she will punish you." Lin Ge did not want to talk nonsense with him. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.